How's it going? It's Man Tomorrow here. Thank you for like, sharing, comment, subscribe to my channel. Waiting on the other two people to get here so that way we can get this rolling. Oh, my restarting now. I had the update zone. How's it going, everybody? It's Man Tomorrow here. Thank you for coming through. Waiting on Nagone 11. Come through. Mike, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. What's going on, man?
Yeah, what's going on? Seeing the notifications that are going out for some reason. There's only 4 people here. I don't know what that's about. But we'll just keep going, man. What we're going to do today is we're going to go over the parts of the Giuliani press conference that he had today in front of the Pennsylvania Senate. The reason why this is important is because a lot of people are selling a lot of misinformation within this space for some reason. And you need to understand why this was done here in front of these type of people versus going through the normal court process to where they could have presented their actual case. There's really no rationale for why a person would decide to go to a non-sworn in meeting, which they never should have gave this guy, especially after the repudiation of the actual conservative judge when it came to his case. He came to court not even talking about voter fraud at all. But you're going to see this guy's statement. Now, keep in mind, his case was thrown out because he didn't have a case to bring when it was time to bring it. So when he first filed the lawsuit, he was alleging all these things happened. When it came time for him to actually show his actual proof that things were actually happening, there was nothing there for him to actually do. There was no evidence for him to give, but he still wants to go out happening. So what we're going to do is we're just going to start the press conference. Hold on a second. Fair use. Fair use. Hold on a second. I really think StreamYards has a better share type platform than this does.
Where are you having a problem?
No, I'm just trying to get the actual screen. I have it now. Boom.
You might want to maximize that.
Thank you, senators and representatives, for inviting me to this important hearing. My name is Justin C. Queder, Kweder. I am a resident and registered voter in the city and county of Philadelphia. I'm an attorney. I am barred here in the Commonwealth. I am a volunteer certified GOP canvass observer. I was present at the Philadelphia Convention Center during the pre-canvass, canvass.
Okay, so what you're going to hear is every different person give their own conspiracy theory on what happened at the actual counting of the votes. Keep in mind, the counting of the votes were live streamed. You could have tuned in to find out what was going on. And you're going to hear every single person. Now, none of these people wanted to go in front of an actual judge, but they all wanted to come to this actual Senate hearing where they wasn't sworn in so that way they could give their actual testimony. But you need to see how far these people would go to discredit the democratic process rather than just simply take the loss. So I'll just keep going.
Is processing and counting of the ballots cast in this year's general election. I was first present as an observer at the convention center and at the count on election day. I returned as a volunteer observer to watch the process every day for the next 10 days. I'd approximate I was there for about 85 hours over those 10 days. Part of the reason that I kept going back was so that I could authoritatively speak about what I saw. And again, thank you for letting me be here. Because what I saw was problematic, to say the least. I can tell you that I am an eyewitness to many issues and irregularities that were observed in Philadelphia with the processing and counting of the vote. I was a witness to too many issues and irregularities to cover in a brief opening statement. And as such, I will now focus on just two issues that I did personally observe. First, the Philadelphia Board of Elections processed hundreds of thousands of mail-in ballots with zero civilian oversight or observation.
Let's stop right there. They are elected officials elected to do this job. They make it look like some army came in from somewhere else, not in America, who came in to count the votes to which he oversaw. Of course, these people are civilians who work for the actual state. And this is why this type of guy did not come to give his testimony before an actual court, because he would be thrown out.
Mail-in ballots were handled, processed, opened, and counted in Hall F of the Convention Center. Hall F is a vast room, approximately 350 feet by 350 feet. That's about 120,000 square feet. The Board of Elections erected a fence approximately 50 feet into the hall that ran the length of the room. All observers were corralled behind the fence. More than 100 board workers processed and opened mail-in ballots on the other side of the fence. These masked workers were arranged throughout the 120,000 square feet at a distance from the observers of about 10 feet to more than 200 feet away from us. Unlike what...
Again, let's go over this. This was live streamed, where the live stream was a hell of a lot closer than where they were. So if they wanted to get closer, the only thing they had to do was just watch the live stream, not make idiotic excuses on how far they was or wasn't away from the people.
Some may have reported in the media. The vast majority, and I'd estimate at least 96% of the board workers were processing mail-in ballots 15 to 200 plus feet from us. Due to the distance of the workers from the erected fences, it was impossible for me or any observer to see what the workers were doing with any type of specificity. The observers were not able to challenge any decision or determination being made about the processing of these mail-in ballots. No civilian oversight over hundreds of thousands of mail-in ballots, zero opportunity for observers to observe, challenge, or inspect the mail-ins being opened. I find this to be an issue, to be irregular. Move on to the second point, the pink highlighted duplicate ballots, which I haven't heard about, at least not in the media. As the weeks progressed, the observers were informed that the board was going to be duplicating damaged mail-in ballots that could not be read by the scanners. I was told that there were more than 5,000 of these damaged ballots. I was also told that the actual number was unknown and could be much higher. The process for duplicating these ballots was for two workers to work as a pair. One worker reading out loud what was marked on the original damaged ballot, and the second worker using a pink highlighter to mark the choice on the duplicate ballot. The board's plan then was to run the pink highlighted ballots through the scanners where they would be counted as votes. The board workers did this pink highlighter duplication work over the course of a couple days until thousands of ballots were duplicated with these pink highlighters. On Thursday, November 12th, the observers were informed that the pink highlighter could not be read by the scanners. They all had to be done again. All of the duplicated
highlighters are not supposed to be read by scanners. This guy knows he's just lying, right?
Mail-in ballots had to be fixed. And the Philadelphia Board of Elections' solution to this problem was to give the workers who were working alone, individually, stacks of hundreds of what amounted to blank mail-in ballots. And the workers individually were to fill in the correct highlighted ovals with dark pen. No observation. They were marking thousands of blank mail-in ballots. The workers did this double recreation work for hours before the observers realized what was going on, because we weren't told what was going on. Only when the observers confronted the deputy commissioner about this irregularity was a system set up where the workers would show the observers each double recreated mail-in ballot by flashing it at them for a second from a distance of 6 to 20 feet away, for as good as that was. Thousands of mail-in ballots were ultimately counted in this way. Again, I find this to be an issue and to be irregular. As Senator Mastriano recently said, elections are...
He said irregular, not fraudulent.
Fundamental principle of our democracy. Unfortunately, Pennsylvanians have lost faith in the electoral system, end quote. And let me add a quote that Philadelphia City Commissioner of Elections, Al Schmidt, just made when he said that when he said about these recent elections in Philadelphia that these were the most secure and transparent elections in Philadelphia's history, end quote. Now, I wasn't around for every election in Philadelphia's history, but I can tell you as an eyewitness, for 10 days, for more than 80 hours, what I saw was not a secure and transparent election. There are major concerns about the legitimacy of hundreds of thousands of ballots that were counted in Philadelphia. Excuse me. All right. Let me finish with this. May I suggest to you that any restoration of faith on the part of Pennsylvanians in our electoral system can and will only be accomplished after an investigation into this election, only after the law is properly applied to this election. The idea that we can just move on by making sure that the law is properly applied in the next election is, in my opinion, unacceptable. The issues, irregularities, and illegitimacy of what I saw leads me to conclude that the laws of the Commonwealth and of the United States were not being followed in Philadelphia when hundreds of thousands of ballots were counted in this year's general election. Action must be taken now to maintain our free and fair elections and to preserve and protect our elections' integrity. I look forward to answering any questions that you may have. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Kim Peterson, and I appreciate that I'm here today. Thank you all for having me here today. I'm from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and I am here to tell you what I witnessed as a canvasser where the warehouse where they open the mail-in ballots and separate them from the envelopes, as we've been discussing. As the afternoon of Election Day, I went to the down to the warehouse to be a canvasser, to as a Republican representative, to be able to watch them open the mail-in ballots. And as the gentleman Justin just described, as I was led back to the area where we were able to view them opening the mail-in ballots, we were kept in a corral that was at least 15 to 20 feet from any of the representatives. And that was the closest people opening the ballots. There were people that were 50, 100 feet from us. The closest that was 20 feet about, and you could not see at all the envelope, the ballot itself, where they were stacking them, anything that was required that we were able to be able to see. There were also monitors up around the area. The monitors were pathetic, to be honest. They were fuzzy, looked like they were using old technology as far as, we have the most clearest televisions created, in the world now. And these were, probably from the 60s. You're looking at all.
So if that's the case, how would she know that there's any sort of discrepancies or irregularities in the process? How would she know that?
That's the live stream online.
That's the weakest testimony I ever heard, man. That shit's limp as fuck.
You think they would be able to do this in a federal court?
If this is their evidence, they're finished. This broad sucker laid. She could be paid saying this. Fine. Where's the evidence? This is your evidence? Oh, if I was far back, I saw them sitting there. What? Get the fuck out of here, man. Fuck out of here.
They rolled in floor model TVs for them to look at. The counter.
Man, fuck out of here, bro.
But everybody else can see a live stream online on the computer monitor. But the people actually inside was given, I guess, floor model TVs and black and white TVs to just look through.
I had the live stream up last week. I watched that shit for about 45 minutes. It was some of the most boring shit I've ever seen. I didn't see anybody fighting. Nobody was knocking each other out the box. People were sitting there doing business as usual. There was nothing funky going on. That's why I'm sitting there saying this is dog shit. I watched the PA and I watched the Georgia recount, which was a fucking joke. So you kidding me, man? These guys are coming up with the weakest evidence, man. I can't see how this could pass. I see why that judge threw that shit out with prejudice. I see why he did it. All right, go ahead, guys.
You really think that this person can come under oath and actually say this shit without getting perjury charges?
Their asses,
She'll be attorney before her. Like, come
she'll
on,
be
man.
spackling her pants once they once they put her hand on that goddamn Bible, on that fucking Bible, bro. Put your hand in that Bible. Go ahead. Now you on the oath. Go ahead. Go ahead. Talk that bullshit. See what happens.
Now,
these people.
this is an open hearing. Now this is an open hearing where nobody's under oath.
Nobody knows. Giuliani backed up when they put him on the oath. Giuliani backed up. The Joker. I call him now the Joker. The Joker backed up when he saw that shit.
And here's the other thing. This is another set of conspiracy theories about another canvasser. But go ahead, Mike.
No, I was just gonna joke and say, the Oath Keeper's under oath. How come these guys are? How is this possible? This is the kangaroo court.
It's a kangaroo court, man. I mean, led by the biggest kangaroo of them all. This is crazy.
Yeah, man.
Prove it.
Show Giuliani, man.
Show your.
All right, man, we're gonna go for it.
These multiple cameras, screenshots put together of people opening ballots, but you could not even see at all or witness anything if anything was any misdoing or anything going wrong. It was very discouraging on my part. I was very much looking forward to being a part of that day and representing myself and Pennsylvanians in a fair election. And I was, I guess, discouraged about it. I love this country and I love Pennsylvania. I was not born and raised in Pennsylvania, but I have been here for 30 years. And it is very important to me that this election be fair. And thank you again for having me.
Fuck off.
This is their Sunday punch? This is what they're coming to. This is their Sunday punch, bro?
Yeah, but here's the thing. Notice how the Senate is not asking them any questions. They're just letting them get this shit off, man. And I love the lighting, man. The lighting make them look like straight ghouls and shit. So
I wonder if that's just the sunlight coming through the window. That's what it looks like.
Oh man.
This looks like a scene out of Rosemary's Baby, man. This just looking crazy.
All right, man. So we're gonna let her, since she loves her country so much, we're gonna let her give her expert testimony that would get laughed out of a courtroom, but fit for a hearing like this.
Excuse me, my name is Leah Hoops. I'm from Delaware County, Pennsylvania. I was a poll watcher on the day of election, and I was also present at the counting center in Chester, Pennsylvania. So first and foremost, thank you to this committee and all those involved, and especially Senator Mastriano and former Mayor Rudy Giuliani. To our fearless and brave president, thank you for being our shield and putting us first, and I'm forever grateful. It is an absolute honor to be a part of this hearing and to finally have an opportunity to speak about what took place in Delaware County, Pennsylvania. I feel as an American that it is my duty to help protect the integrity of our elections, not just for me, but for every American. There are many who have lost life and limb for my right to vote. I want to give a brief introduction and history of how I got involved in this election. 4 years ago, Donald Trump came down an escalator, and I knew that he was here to take back our country. I was born and raised in Delaware County in a conservative home. I was taught from an early age to love thy neighbor, defend your country, and by all means, always speak the truth. I took those values throughout my life and applied them in every avenue possible, which brings me up to the present. And about 18 months ago, I became a volunteer and assisted with a campaign for a magisterial judge. In that process, I was approached by my current chairman and became an appointed committeewoman for the Bethel Township Republican Party. In conjunction with my committee position, I also started volunteering for the Trump campaign, registering voters, and assisting with events. During this time, I started a watchdog group and reached out to the Thomas More Society. Now associates, we've been focusing our efforts in election integrity. Our greatest efforts have been following closely the newly elected and completely Democrat-run Delaware County Council and the Democrat Majority Election Board. This also includes any and all contractors, support staff, and any.
Again, what does this have to do with what she saw?
They have no evidence, bro.
I mean, this is just a whole bunch of word salad by saying I'm a Republican.
I mean, like I said, this looks like a satanic session, man. They look like they're getting ready to sacrifice somebody at the end of the night, man. Look at this dog shit over here, man. Look at this shit, man. This shit look Beelzebubian, dude.
Hopefully she gets to what she actually saw at some point.
Listen to what she tells you, what she saw.
What we found was actually concerning. Not only was private grant money used from the Center for Tech and Life owned by Google and Mark Zuckerberg, but pop-up voter sites were also approved. These pop-up voter sites were placed in heavily Democrat cities, including Chester and Upper Darby, Pennsylvania, in which case the grant money from the CTCL was used to pay for electioneering. It was literally a one-stop shop. Walk in, apply, get your ballot, submit, and you were out the door.
Ooh, who would want you to do that? Who would want you to participate in the actual election process?
Guiliani, 20 G's a day, baby. 20 G's a day, fam.
Like, as you can see, that's what voter fraud is for the Republican Party. You actually participating in the actual voting process itself.
The 15th Amendment is voter fraud, according to them.
That's a fact.
That's how they see it.
Yeah, that's exactly how they see it.
All right, man. Let's see what else this monster's going to say.
But where this didn't take place was in heavily Republican and independent areas. Let's also make note that the voting machine warehouse supervisor is a Bernie Sanders delegate, who is also solely responsible for every scanner, machine, V-card, and all machines with absolutely zero experience in this area.
Where's the voter fraud? Where's the fraud?
See what happened when you follow DJ Coda advice? Nobody can hear you. Man, that dude got a couple Blue Yetis, don't he, Mike?
Okay. All right. Sorry, I forgot where I was. Okay, so the real story is the $2.1 million spent to move the counting center from the courthouse in Media, Pennsylvania, which has been something that has been done for decades, to the wharf in Chester, Pennsylvania. Let me explain to you the layout of the counting center. It is in the middle of a huge parking lot, which sits back on Seaport Drive next to loading docks. It has multi-million-dollar connections to the company Power HRG and Subaru Park Soccer Stadium. The counting center was on the first floor, in which there were multiple places to bring in ballots in and out of, elevators and many rooms in which workers had access. I was there for 3 straight days. What became of concern was the back room, which had no observers, no line of sight or transparency into the process. There was no cooperation, complete resistance from election night and every day after. It took until our lawyer got an injunction to get into that back room in which pre-canvassing was transpiring. Even with an injunction, which was a joke, we were granted 5 minutes every 2 hours, and the setup was sitting in a chair 20 feet from any physical ballot. I truly wish I had enough time today to recreate what I witnessed and felt during those moments, but we did not gather here today just for me and my experience, but rather a collection of experiences from Americans like myself. What I hope to achieve is for the public to understand is that we have stuck our necks out, have been intimidated, threatened, bullied, have spent countless hours away from our families, friends, and jobs. We have signed affidavits under penalty of perjury, which should be consideration enough to know that this is a very serious issue. I'm here for one thing only, and that is to speak the truth. This is not about party. This is about my country. Every American deserves transparency, truth, and be able to question those in power without fear of intimidation, bullying, or backlash. I hope this committee takes action if needed, and justice will be swift to anyone involved in fraudulent activity. The Republic is angry, disgruntled, tired, beaten up, and ready to defend this country.
Defend the country from what? This is over.
Well, it's
election integrity.
Go
No, I was just going to say, it's an interesting choice of words to use against people who they try to disenfranchise, right?
Yeah.
That they feel that Black people having the opportunity to vote is a threat on the United States democracy. Where have we heard this before? But you have people in this space who are saying that there's something fishy going on. Well, there it is right there.
Yeah, you know, you got another whack dude acolyte who's posting a video about the surge in ballots in Pennsylvania. All these street dudes getting involved in politics, man, like they don't respect the process unless they win. Then the process is fine. If they don't win, then there's a problem. So let's keep this going. Because now she has her own set of conspiracy theories that is different from the other two people. So let's see what else she's going to go with.
Just another banana republic. I thank you again for your time, efforts, and service, and it is an honor to be here and to be part of a historical moment. Thank you.
Tough group to follow. My name is Gregory Stenstrom. I'm from Delaware County. I'm a father, a family man. I was a former commanding officer and executive officer in the Navy. I'm a veteran of foreign wars. I'm a CEO of my own private company. I'm a data scientist. I'm a forensic computer scientist. I'm an expert in security and fraud. Leah had recruited me for this election, and I was glad. Thank you for that. So for the first part of the day, I was a poll watcher in the city of Chester, and I was with just another former U.S. Marine officer, and the two of us were the only GOP poll watchers in the city of Chester, which is about 40,000 people. Because of the consolidation for COVID, there were 7 polls we were allowed to, that we were able to make it to in 22 precincts. What we saw out there was pretty orderly and exciting. People were excited to vote. One of the things we saw out in the field was that quite a few people had done mail-in ballots. So they came in and they hadn't been updated in the Delaware County database yet. So they would come in and say, the database is not showing me on the database, I'd like to vote. So the process, one of the processes was to give them.
Hey man, I'm sorry. I don't know if you want to stop us for a second. Hey guys, are these guys serious?
They are. Well, let it go.
We have to hear this whole thing out.
I understand.
And later on, the vote would be sorted out.
Hold on a second.
That didn't happen. I observed, and the gentleman that was with me observed 7 different polls where the people were given a regular ballot.
Okay. Now, at this point, this is all hearsay. If the person who he's talking about witnessed this stuff, he would actually come to the actual hearing to give the testimony about what he saw.
You have to produce evidence. I can say
none of this stuff would be admissible in court. None of it. It's all hearsay.
Where is the evidence of this? That this guy said this? I saw this. You saw that? Really? Who was it? Can you produce this person to come back here and say the same thing under oath?
Of course not. I mean, let's keep playing.
I find none of this better.
Because he's really about to get into the woods and the weeds. Because, like I said, all these people have their own kind of separate conspiracy theories that they're throwing in. So let's hear what this guy has to say still.
So they cast a vote, put it in. And we let it happen a few times. We didn't jump all over them. It happened a couple of times. We went up. In all cases, the election judges were very forthcoming, very polite. They apologized and they said they couldn't do it. But that somewhat spurred me to go down to the counting center, which Leah described. It's on Seaport Ave. It's a remote building, not much around it. And I wanted to take a look. All day long, I had been told that there were 10 to 20 GOP poll watchers down there and that everything was well in hand. And out of curiosity, I decided to go down. I arrived at 6 o'clock with 4 other gentlemen, again, foreign military and some good citizens.
Now, this is what I don't like what people use about their military service. This is why I never use the military service argument. Any person who tries to put off fraudulent information, and they keep trying to massage in how much of the military they are and the people who they move in the military. Dude, listen, it was a restricted area. They already had people there who was assigned to the restricted area. You don't just show up to a restricted area and just say, I need access to this area. There's different people assigned different places.
And if you needed access,
go ahead.
Go ahead.
No,
go ahead.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. No, I was going to say, if you needed access, under what authority do you have that request from? Under what authority would he have that request from to have access to these areas, to these fenced off areas? Who would he?
I just want to say this very quickly. Remember, oh, I'm sorry. There was a judge who ruled on this, who listened to a lot of this stuff. They brought this case in front of these guys before, and they threw everything out with prejudice. So they're going to come up with something new?
No, I mean, but these people didn't testify, obviously, Nagone, because they can't put this type of shit in front of a judge. They have to swear in and say this stuff. And once they do, the district attorney is going to hack them to pieces with simplistic questions about what they're talking about. But in a hearing, they can just run their mouths one-sided, and the other side just don't ask them questions because they think this stuff is clownish. But at least they got their say, so that way you know what they're talking about. So that's why they gave them a hearing.
Yeah. But let me see. So they haven't fully certified. They have a few counties that have refused to certify. Is that correct?
Yeah, holding out. But again, this stuff is ceremonial. The count's over. They're not going to recount anything.
Yeah, because it's not beyond the margin of error.
Right.
Play the clip, Hamilton.
From Delaware County, and we weren't allowed to get in until 11 o'clock at night, and we had to get some legal help to get us in. So it took us 5 hours to get upstairs. After that, what we saw here is what I saw is I really think the crux of this in Delaware County is, as an expert in this, I think it's impossible to verify the validity of about 100,000 to 120,000 votes. Now, Delaware County's got 425,000 registered voters. Approximately 300,000 of them voted. I don't know what the exact number ended up. Mayor Guiliani had nailed that number. But of that number, over 100,000 are in question in my mind. What I saw as a forensics expert was an election.
Based on what? In his mind?
Process that was forensically destructive in the manner it was conducted, with the envelopes being separated from the ballots and gone to the other side of the room. The problem with that from being forensically destructive is that when you go to do a recount, okay, the machines did a pretty good job of recounting. So if I have 120,000 ballots, mail-in ballots at one side of the room and envelopes at the other side of the room, it's still going to come out 102,000 votes for Vice President Biden and 18,000 votes for President Trump. I don't care how many times you recount those votes, the ballot's going to come out the same every time. So the notion of a recount in a forensically destructive process doesn't work very well. What I saw there was a chain of custody in all cases that was broken. It was broken for the mail-in ballots, the Dropbox ballots, the election day USB card flash drives. In all cases, the chain of custody and the procedures that were defined by the Delaware County Board of Elections and election process review they didn't follow one. I couldn't even redline this multi-page document because the entire document would be, they didn't follow any of the procedures. So I personally observed USB cards being uploaded to voting machines by the voting machine warehouse supervisor on multiple occasions. I saw this personally. I brought it to the attention of the deputy sheriff who was there stationed, who was a senior law enforcement.
Okay. So now he's saying that people just brought in thumb drives and just started connecting them to the voting machines to upload votes.
It's not exactly how it works. I'm surprised as a forensic analyst that he would say something like that, damaging his credibility here. The system, you don't just you can't just plug in a blank hard drive and upload a vote. That's not how it works. That's just not how it works.
Oh no, Mike, it's gonna get wilder than this.
Because because they know if you plug in a USB hard drive and you access the mass storage on there, there is a log that is generated in the system in Windows. There's a log that's generated from a system standpoint, and then there's an application log that is generated as well. Those logs you can't delete. So those logs stay there forever. So for them to do something like this would compromise themselves, because anybody who does forensics would actually look into that and find that instantly at that time. That's all they have to look up is mass storage connectivity from the USB port. That would tell them everything.
Yeah, but according to this guy, it wasn't just one drive. So let's keep going.
An officer, and I brought it to the attention of the clerk of elections. I brought it to their attention. I objected, and I said, this person is not being observed. He's not part of the process that I can see. And he's walking in with baggies, which we have pictures of, and it was submitted in our affidavits. And he was sticking these USBs into the machines. So I personally witnessed over that happened 24 times, over 24 times. We have multiple other witnesses to start, including Democrat poll watchers. And we were told, I was told the next day by the solicitors, well, actually not the solicitor, but the attorney that we had secured, that they said every election they leave a couple of USBs in the voting machines and they're brought back, and generally the warehouse manager comes over and puts them in. So in talking to the U.S. Attorney General McSwain and other law enforcement officers, I found out that was not the case. That generally, more than two is unusual. So they denied they did it, but as of today, 47 USB cards are missing, and they're nowhere to be found. So I was told personally that these.
He just made up a number. So I guess you could count all the USBs and baggies and all this kind of stuff. Oh man,
bagging it up. They were bagging it up.
They were bagging it up.
Process.
Well, I mean, can this be corroborated? I mean, what is this guy talking about?
Well, no, he's a former military.
Yeah, military.
Yes, he's a CEO of his own company, and he's a computer forensics analyst. He knows. He's a real American, and he's a Republican.
Can he prove this? Can he show and prove this?
No, his testimony is proof. He don't need no stinking oaths.
Oh, man.
All right, man. So let's see what else this clown got to say.
These 24 to 30 cards that were uploaded weren't there. Those cards, I demanded that they didn't update the vote live time. They only updated it about once every 2 or 3 hours. I demanded they uploaded the vote so I could see what the result was, and it was 50,000 votes. And I think as a computer scientist, an American, and a patriot, it doesn't matter who those 50,000 votes were. I'll tell you they were for Vice President Biden. But what was shocking to me as an American, as someone who has gone to sea, gone to war, that that could even happen.
Where is the
several
evidence?
other things that was on Thursday. It took us 3 days for them to obey the court order that I secured with Leah's help and the help of the Thomas More Society, who we thank, incredibly good patriots. They got us in there. They got the order for us to get in and watch it, look at the back offices, which were locked, for 5 minutes every 2 hours. I went in. I was the first one allowed to go in at 1:30 on Thursday, and then again at 3:30 for 5 minutes. The county solicitor had a stopwatch. On the first time, I was not allowed to touch anything. The second time I did. What I observed in the locked room in the back office was 70,000 unopened mail-in ballots. They were in boxes of 500, stacked in neatly. The gentleman that came in with me was a Democrat poll watcher, is a forensic pathologist, a very detailed, very dedicated man. He took meticulous notes as well. And I verified with him, are you seeing what I'm seeing? We both agreed as GOP poll watchers and a Democrat poll watcher that we had witnessed 60 to 70,000. We had a little bit of a disagreement there. The problem with that was by that time, the mail-in ballots had already been counted. So 120,000 mail-in ballots had already been counted, posted, and done. So my question is, where did the 70,000 ballots go? And nobody knows. We have a picture in here of a large number of boxes that I took that were filled with what appeared to be ballots sitting by the Blue Crest machine. They were there for about 3 hours and then they disappeared. I found it notable when I watched it the first when they were taking the ballots up and down. I said, I am an expert in fraud. I saw the ballots going up multiple elevators and racks. And I think a lot of well-meaning people and a lot of honest people were there doing that. They were trying to participate in the process. And I would say that 99% of the people there, the way the process was designed, I believe that people thought it was a non-fraudulent process. I heard that said many times. I was, I said, there's no fraud going on here. I said, well, I'm not, I didn't even bring that up, but I think people saw what they wanted to see and they saw what was intended for them to see. I called it at one point Kabuki theater. I said it was all designed for us to see it. It was entertaining. There were cameras on it. When we finally got into the back room where the votes were being ingested, as a data scientist, I want to see where the data is coming in. And I wanted to know the universe of the votes. Well, the universe of the votes was only supposed to be 120,000 mail-in ballots. We were told there were 6,000 ballots remaining. So I said, okay, we have a universe of 126,000 votes. And then when I get back there, the universe wasn't 126,000 votes. The universe was 200,000 votes. So that's a problem. I think the last thing I wanted, a couple of other things is the Blue Crest sorter machine was only manned by one person. People ask me all the time, how do people commit crimes? I know there's a lot of theories here, and I always look for the simplest thing. People that stuff, sticking USB sticks in, putting ballots in, very simple thing, only takes a couple of people. Doesn't take a big conspiracy. I think people look at things and they use inflammatory words and, like fraud and so forth. As a forensic computer scientist, my interest is in the data. Where did it go? Where did the spoilage go? How did the data come in and go out of the system? So I think as a scientist, we need to look at that. We need to audit that. What was really upsetting to me, and the most upsetting, was I had spoke to multiple law enforcement agencies and literally begged multiple law enforcement agencies to say, go in, and it's in order to prove that nothing's happening. You either exonerate yourselves in the process or refute what I'm saying, please. It's a very simple process. Just go get the forensic evidence from the computers. It's a simple process. You turn the computer off. It's non-destructive. It takes moments, maybe half an hour, 20 minutes to do it properly and collect the evidence. You open the computer up. You take a device called a bit blocker. You put it in the hard drive. It's done under the observation of law enforcement officers. They take a forensic image of the drive, put it all back together. It wouldn't have taken more than an hour to image all 5 machines. That was never done, despite my objections, and that was 3 weeks ago. Lastly, when they said, well, we've got all the forensic records and so forth.
Hey, Mike, does this sound plausible to you?
That virtually all chain of custody.
Mike, does that sound correct?
So he's correct that the process for imaging a hard drive is correct. The only problem is the only ones who can actually request the image of the hard drive would either be the state police, state auditor, or the FBI. Why would anybody have to go through? I mean, you need a warrant to do all of that. You can't just. Pennsylvania is a commonwealth, so there's particular laws on how data is managed. You don't just touch data like that without having authority. You need some kind of warrant to do that, and usually that comes from state police, or that comes from the state auditor, or a magistrate would have to, or a judge would have to call for a warrant, or the FBI would just demand it, and they would just go in there and just take it. That's usually how it goes in cybersecurity. But the way he's describing it, as if, well, he just has the authority to do it. You're a poll watcher. What are you talking about, man?
Yeah, see, that's my whole thing. Because this guy can just go in and you could just drop USBs and just rock the way you want. I mean, it doesn't seem like that is very open for anyone just to do that.
We don't know what the USB drives are used for. The USB drives could have been used for authentication. Sometimes the hash can be stored on a USB drive for a certain account. Usually used for what do you call it? RBAC, which is role-based account controls. So, you know, not for something sensitive like that, different people are not going to be able to just jump in and out of the machine without some kind of two-factor, multi-factor authentication. Maybe that's what the USB drives were used for, the different forms of authentication.
He's saying
so if you don't know what you're looking
they
at,
use it to upload different new data, new voters. That's what he's saying.
Yeah,
But
so if you don't know what you're looking at,
yeah,
and you're actually just pointing stuff out that he think and sees is wrong, and all he is a poll watcher. He isn't a person who's actually privy to the things that are directly going on within the environment. Everything looks like fraud to him.
yeah.
Every process that haven't been checked by him is fraud to him.
Yeah, a black person voting is fraud to him. What are these niggas doing voting? What is this?
Yep.
Solar power shines. Hold on, sir. Let's keep going.
The logs, records, yellow sheets, everything was gone. All forensic evidence, all custody sheets in Delaware County are gone. They had a signing party where they sat down, and poll workers were invited back to recreate those logs. And our understanding as of today was that they were unsuccessful in getting them all. So we have a situation where we have 100,000 ballots to 120,000 ballots, both mail-in and USB. They're in question. Now, there's no cure for this. There's no remedy for this. As a home charter, we could have a re-election in Delaware County for our own representatives within our own town, but there is no cure for that for the President of the United States. And I don't believe, as a citizen and an observer to this, that anybody could certify that vote in any good conscience. And if the Democrats that were part of this process, had done things, followed their own procedures, which they created almost unilaterally, we would be in a situation where they could exonerate themselves and they could say, Mr. Stenstrom, you've been misinformed. We have evidence here that refutes what you say. But that's not the case. They can't do that. So I say, if you can't certify that vote, and you can't certify 100,000 votes out of 300,000, then you can't certify Delaware County. And I'm done, and thank you for your time and patience.
Thank you all. To this panel, before I have Senator Mastriano introduce the next 15-minute panel, I want to note that we've also been joined on Zoom by Representative Kathy Rapp from Northwestern Pennsylvania. Doug?
All right. I mean, there's really no need to go through this, because in the next two panels, you're going to have different, like every person came up to give their own spin on this conspiracy theory about what happened within that state. You would think they were introduced by Rudy Giuliani that I didn't play. You have to understand that his case was thrown out because there was no evidence. These people could have clearly went up there and assorted these people to give their evidence before an actual court if they actually wanted to do that. But they did not want to bring this type of nonsense up to an actual court. Could you imagine these people getting cross-examined?
That was my whole thing. They bought this evidence. I don't know who this guy is, but I believe that he had that evidence was in the case that they tried to bring in Pennsylvania, and they tossed it. And then two major law firms that was working with them bounced. They left, and they left the Joker and this other chick, this Powell woman or whatever, I think that was her name was. Then they dismissed her off the case because she came in with this demon or whatever this thing was, this computer system in Germany or whatever. And they couldn't corroborate any of that. They couldn't corroborate any of this evidence at all. It's just these guys coming up making stories. None of this stuff was able to be corroborated. They brought up nothing to show what was happening. And there's nothing here. So this guy here talking all this crap, what were you looking at? What do you know? Well, there was another 70,000 ballots that was sitting in there that weren't counted. What? You sure that you saw 70,000 ballots that came in that were uncounted? How'd you know that they were? How do you know these ballots weren't counted? What are you talking about? And this Democrat who supposedly took notes, copious notes, and did all this, where's he? Where's that guy testifying?
Yeah. I mean, but it's like there was 10 or 15 different people who all gave their different types of conspiracy theory about what they saw.
Yeah, that's why they just tossed the shit, man. This wasn't incredible, man. You got to come in with evidence. These guys, that he's given no evidence here. He's saying this is what he thinks he saw, and this is what he thinks this is. I can think a lot of things too. I mean, shit.
Yeah, but you got people in the manosphere who believe this stuff hook, line, and sinker. Like they actually believe these people, but they couldn't provide the type of proof in court that would allow them to have their stuff actually be heard under oath. But these people, along with the people and the rationale all over the manosphere, they seem to know more than the judge who threw the case out. Because if this is their so-called evidence, like I don't know what you do.
These guys in the manosphere don't know anything about process. Most of them don't know anything about politics. I was listening to that other brother today. I'm like, man, I like him. He's my man. But he was so green and so had such a fundamental, profound lack of understanding of how this process works. It was pretty scary. And they're saying, well, they got the evidence. Where's the evidence? Well, they're going to come in with the evidence now. Well, if they had the evidence before, why didn't they present it? Why didn't they do it? Giuliani was there with grease sliding down his face, looking crazy, was not able to produce anything. And when they came up about fraud, when he was on the oath, he backed away. So I believe they're going to come in with fraud. If they want to come in with fraud again, they're going to back away again. They're not going to be able to prove it. Not when you sit them under a federal judge. And remember, the judge who shut them down was a Federalist Society judge, came from the Federalist Society. All right. Very conservative, Republican judge said, get out of here with this. If you think I'm going to come in here and back this up and put my reputation on line behind hearsay, and they're sharp lawyers that can tear me out the frame if I go behind this bullshit, no way. Can't do it. Can't do it. Can't go with hearsay. You better have compelling evidence. If it's not here, then it's over, done. And that's it. If these guys can prove it, I'd like to see it. I don't believe they can prove one word of what they're saying. Not one.
Well, MOT, they're not under oath. They're under Quaker oaths.
Quaker oats. Quaker oats.
And brown sugar.
And
it's the instant kind. Just put hot water in there and they're good.
Yeah.
That's right.
Under cream of wheat. A little bit of lumps in it. So
yeah, but this is where we are. No, this is where we are. It's like, what are you supposed to do at this point?
the thing is this. his people believe this, these Senate hearings, because they have to believe it. MOT, you got some feedback on your side. They have to believe it because there is nothing else. There is nothing else. Well, I saw this and I saw that. Well, where's your forensic evidence of this? Well, I saw a lot of people jumping in and out of the computer. How do you know that they weren't jumping in and out of their accounts? It's easy to log out of the account and log right back in. How do you know that? How do you know that there's not a group account?
See, but when you're under oath, Mike, and you're getting hit with those types of questions, you can't. These guys can't answer them. They can't answer them.
Yeah, but
go ahead.
He's mortgaging his whole entire credibility on a hearing. He has to understand he's a CEO of a company and he's former military. You should lose all of your benefits as a veteran if you go up there saying some shit like that.
Put his ass under oath. Put him under oath. Put him under oath.
That's it. Just put him under oath.
And then let him rock with that story.
Let him squeak and squeal. Put him under the low. Just raise the hand. No. Don't run. Raise the hand. No, just do you swear, affirm that everything you say is the truth, the whole truth, and everything.
Nothing but the truth.
Sit your ass down.
I mean, we don't even know if that's a Bible they may be putting their hand on. It could say Hall of Game or something like that on it. I'm just saying, these people who have all this credibility, they did this and they started this organization. Do you realize that you're on national TV saying this type of stuff?
This stuff is on tape forever.
Yeah. This is like a permanent grift.
The only thing I'm saying is put these sucker lades under oath. See, that to me, that's the crucible of truth. Put yourself under that scrutiny. And if you lie or you're telling something that's somewhat deceptive or perceived as deceptive, you could be hit with perjury. You could be potentially fined very heavily. You could even, at the extreme level, you could potentially be facing jail time. So this is all pretty serious stuff. And, they put Giuliani underneath that scrutiny and he begged off. He said, no, we're not talking about fraud. He begged off. Now they're talking about fraud here. Where is this fraud? But I see what they're trying to do. They're trying to taint this after the fact because it was when it came to the proof, they couldn't produce it. And they can't produce it now. You can't produce it.
No, man, you got so many guys in the manosphere who are backing this up all the way to January 20th.
They do not understand this process. But I saw another young woman. We spoke about MOT. You saw out there saying some crazy stuff as well, out at a rally, at a Trump rally, and also was claiming certain things that she wouldn't have any way of backing up. So people are running this stuff down. I say, show me the proof. That's all I ask, man, and that's all I ask. Okay, go ahead, man. MOT, go ahead.
I mean, you have to understand at this point. This is what happens when you have people be part of a process that they don't understand, that they do not respect, that they want to benefit from immediately. This is the danger. Because what you have here is the danger that you actually see is what's going on right now. Every different person, they have their own different conspiracy theory about what they're doing. None of this stuff would be able to fly. Dude, do you think that you would be able to get the lie straight? They don't even have the lie straight. Everybody has a different grift everybody has a different way of discrediting the process that they're bringing to account. Every single one of these people.
It's like Abbott and Costello, man. Who's on first?
Yeah. It is.
Third base.
Yeah. And it's like, so how are you going to be able to get this stuff proper and correct when everybody's bringing their own conspiracy theory to the table? So now, not only you got one thing you could believe, Now you got a ton of things you can believe based on what you heard or saw. It's insane, man.
In a court of law, you cannot be convicted on hearsay. You hear on a vote now, you're trying to disenfranchise tens of thousands of voters. Okay, you're trying to knock people out the box, and you're trying to do it through hearsay. Can't be done. Can't be done.
Well,
I'm kidding that anybody can do it. You cannot do that through hearsay. You have to have proof, and they have not. Go ahead, Mike.
No, coincidentally, Trump wanted to lynch all 5 of the Central Park 5 based on hearsay.
He did.
So this is historic.
And Mike, he never apologized for being wrong. The city paid out millions of dollars for those guys doing the time that they did. They were injured. They got compensated. Trump never went back and said a word. Never apologized after he harmed them. He had them harmed. He never said a word. Never did. So that's what these guys are doing. Create chaos and leave. And that, try to achieve your objective and move on. That's what these guys are trying to do. That's his name of the game.
Well, is there any correlation to Supreme Court appointee Amy Corey Barrett that she denied a brother legitimacy in the case about grievances in the work?
Yeah. After being called a nigger.
Yeah. This is supposed to be the party that has your back and about democracy. What Trump was trying to do, according to the federal court Judge Braun, federal court Judge Braun, Trump wanted to purge 7 million or disenfranchise 7 million Black voters from the polls. 6.8 million. This is supposed to be the guy who's saying stop the steal, but he's too busy trying to steal ballots from other people.
Yeah.
Well, I just want to let you know the NAACP Legal Defense Fund. Even though they've been a bullshitting organization for the last couple of decades, but every now and again they can raise their heads on something highly legitimate, and they did, and they are suing Trump and his campaign for violations of the Voting Rights Act and being discriminatory and using voter suppression tactics against the Black community. And they're coming after his campaign for doing that. So you have actually a countervailing punch coming at these guys for what they're doing, because they don't believe that this is legal. This is in the court right now as we speak. So I have to, even though I look at many of this NAACP as a band of tremendous bullshitters, they have struck the right chord here.
That's where we're at here.
Oh yeah, and they're suing Trump personally as well. They're suing him personally.
No, you got a comment in the chat here from John Henry Tour. Biden's crime bill did more damage to Black people collectively than Trump's ad about the Central Park 5 Nagone. That's what it says.
Oh shit, Mike. Listen, Mike, you want to handle this one real quick? Just handle this real quick for me, Mike. Thank you, fam.
Biden's crime bill. Biden's crime bill, right?
Not the MAGAs who sold all the drugs, not the violence that was going on. Biden just came up with a crime bill out of nowhere. It was based on nothing. And here's the thing.
Mm-hmm.
I disagree with the addicts who got caught with the drugs who went to jail. What I don't disagree with the people who was actually distributing the drugs and selling it. We have all this smoke for Biden, but no smoke for the pookie pretenders within the space. None.
No pun intended. Smoke.
Yeah. None. And they're like, oh, Biden crime bill. I'm like, actually, the people who are complaining about Biden's crime bill are not people who were addicts on drugs. They're nothing but pookie pretenders. Like, yeah, man, let my people go. My people got locked up. All right, man. Okay. Which people?
No, but the thing is, you know, Biden's crime bill did more damage, right? Okay, let's pull up the facts. Let me pull that up because we're not gonna let you just come here and just get away with that. Like that. That's not how it works here.
No. I was gonna get ready to go in, but I'm just sitting there saying it's the ignorance is painful. But anyway, but go ahead. But go ahead, Mike. Go ahead.
Yeah. Let me pull that up. Oh, let me share my screen. I don't have rights here. Wait, what is it trying to do? MOT not run a democracy here? What's going on?
It's not real, man.
Yeah, MOT, if you can allow me to share my screen.
Wait, hold on a second. This might be participants. Guess.
Let my people show their screen, MOT.
Let my people show their screen. There you go, man.
All right. Here we go right here. Biden on, I can't even zoom this one. Let me see if I can zoom it in. Oh, here we go. All right, this is from factcheck.org. Biden on the 1994 crime bill, okay? Democratic support. Biden in the 1980s and 1990s, violent crime was out of control. The crime bill was designed to deal with that problem. That's why it was supported overwhelmingly by the Democratic Party, by African-American leaders all across the nation, including the majority of the Black caucus in Congress, but not Maxine Waters. Keep that in mind. Bill cut violent crime rate in half. Biden worked in the crime bill worked in some areas, but it failed in others. The violent crime rate was cut in half in America. Republican opposition. Biden, it was opposed by Republicans, people like Mitch McConnell, not because they thought it was too tough, because they thought it was too soft. They felt it dedicated too much money to things like prevention. Remember, they had those prisoners dancing in tutus saying Biden wants to have after-school programs. Biden wants to have prevention programs, right? Mitch McConnell, remember that, just reelected a few weeks ago because they thought it was too soft. They felt it dedicated too much money to things like prevention. You see, people who support the tangerine tyrant and the people on the right, because they think that the 1994 crime bill was so impactful on Black people, don't realize the people that you're trying to support now, we're going to have worse for you. They thought it was too soft. These are the key words, because they thought it was too soft. They felt it dedicated too much money to things like prevention, progressive ideas, right? This is what these guys are supporting. This is what these Black people are supporting. Drug courts, assault weapon ban. Biden, I also wrote that into law. Drug courts. Anyone arrested for a drug problem because they are addicted should be diverted into a drug court, not into a prison system, right? 1994 law provided $1 billion for drug courts over 6 years. Biden, it included My Violence Against Women's Act, VAWA, which I wrote. It included strengthening the Brady Bill on background checks, eliminated assault weapons. Mandatory minimums and 3 strikes. Biden, Republicans, didn't like the fact that we remove mandatory minimums for first-time offenders. So all these Black people who come here and want to go to the right and support the right and say, well, Trump's doing the First Step Act. That's because these same people over here didn't like the fact that it removed the mandatory minimums. They wanted more. If you left it into their hands, they would have put brothers under the jails. But you think that supporting them and not and bringing up the crime bill is somehow indicative of a legitimate argument. Here we go again. Biden, the bill also included things like I didn't like. I didn't support the provision the president wanted and called 3 strikes and you're out. Didn't support it then, don't support it now. These are the facts. This is straight from Biden. Biden, I didn't support any mandatory minimums. We got that. More money for prisons. I didn't support more money to build state prisons. I was against it. We should be building rehab centers, not prisons. Okay? This is the facts. This is the fact check. So every time these guys come over here and they bring up the crime bill, I say, that sounded, it made you sound, legitimate 2 or 3 weeks ago, but that doesn't hold weight here anymore. Let me stop staring my screen.
Let me say this. Whoever that was, you just got categorically torn out the frame by Mike V. Thank you. All right, anyway, let's move along.
No, I'm trying to get the context of what he was talking about. That doesn't mean anything. I don't. Hold on a second. So what's your point, MOT? I'm college educated, but it affected Generation X black man, my generation. Well, I'm Generation X too. So I have no idea what you're talking about. Maybe he was one of those older Generation X people who freely let these people walk into these consequences without trying to. Oh, he wants to come up? Oh, wow. Hold on a second.
Let him in. But please don't come up here emotional. Don't come up here emotional. Don't get emotional. Speak facts. Let's not get emotional here.
And if you come up here with this Conor McGregor shit, where you come up here and we all agree, I'm gonna kick your ass out of here anyway. You shouldn't be that stupid to bring this type of shit up. However, you're gonna come up here. There you go. Come up. Well, you just brought up a whole bunch of stuff just out of context, but that's what happens when you pretend like you love Pookie so fucking much that the crime bill. Oh my God, my women can't eat off the Pookie. Yeah.
The thing is,
clown after clown.
Right, but they're doing the same thing that they accuse Black Lives Matters of doing, right? Black Lives Matter that they accuse them of is leveraging the death of black men for their own advantage.
Yeah, but they act like they're not doing that. That's exactly what they're doing.
Right. I don't know who X is. You might want to change your name. You could be Brother X, Professor X. I don't know.
Dr. X.
Yeah, man, just change your name to whoever you supposed to be, man, so that way we can have a conversation.
Yeah.
So you wouldn't need to be coming up here with all this bullshit if you can just be who you actually are. So.
Yeah.
Is he up yet?
No, we don't change his name. He can change his name in the waiting area, can't he?
Yeah.
I don't know if he's X. Just let him come in as X, man. Okay, he wants to rap.
No, because what happens here is, when you go back and do the replay, you'd be like, well, this guy said this. Well, that really wasn't me up there. That was some guy named X. Okay. All right.
Yeah. No, man. So change your name so whoever you say you were in the chat, and we'll let you up.
Yeah, it could be Brother Ben X. I don't know.
Yeah, I remember
Malcolm X.
Brother Ben X. Yeah, man. That's
yes, Sadat X.
He left.
Oh, he left? Oh, he cold swag it off?
I mean, but the link is still in the chat. You still gotta change your name, man. It doesn't matter how many times you come in here as X. We don't bring on X's, man.
It could be my ex.
It could be my ex.
Could be Excalibur.
Yeah. We're really not thirsty to bring people on, man. It's just that if you want to come on, we got to know who you are before you come on. That's it.
Well, we could change his name for him. He says that's him. So, yeah, it could be DMX.
Could be DMX.
What's his name? John Henry. What? Sure.
Yeah.
All right, man. So I just put. Hey, man, don't say nothing once you come in. I'll just change your name to John Tur. All right. Oh, sorry.
Maybe he's riding a BMX.
Oh boy.
Oh, second. Let's. Oh.
Yeah. Whatever.
Okay, no BMX. What's good? What's good?
Hey man,
Hold
come
on.
on, amigo. Come on.
Hold on a second. Hey man, you gotta turn off the YouTube in the background, bro.
All right, I'm gonna have to cut off.
Turn your YouTube off in the back.
I got you. Just a second.
All right. Hey, unmute once you have that stuff under control, man.
All right. So.
Okay, you good.
All right.
So, okay, so I didn't see what was said before. So, what do you mean by that was out of context to me? Like, what does that mean? What does that mean? I didn't get the context of what you were saying.
I mean, you guys are basically attempting to say that the crime bill was a direct result of the crime that occurred in the mid to late 80s, early 90s.
Absolutely. Okay. Hold on.
Okay.
So you saying that you don't think? Hold on a second. Renaissance man, change your name before you say anything. So what you're saying is that the crime bill just came out of nowhere because crime was not high.
I'm not saying that. I know. Look, I'm 46. I grew up in St. Louis, Missouri.
Okay.
My parents.
Okay, so you have to declare what you're talking about because you're trying to make it seem like the crime bill just came out of nowhere because crime was not high. So what is actually your position or point?
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying it was unwarranted, and I'm saying it was directly targeted to young black men like myself in that age range, the Gen X black men. Because
did you go to jail?
Because
did you go to jail?
No, hell no. I told you I went to college.
Okay.
Both of my parents were college educated.
What did you have to do? What did you have to do to go to jail?
Not much. Cops back then, police were planning shit. I'm not saying that everybody that went to jail. I'm saying most of them probably were good for it, but I'm just saying all you had to be is young, black, and in the inner city, and you were targeted as a criminal, including me. And I was far from it.
Okay.
And what I'm telling you is
then again.
What I'm telling you is Joe Biden
crime
with that bill.
Joe Biden is not.
He targeted us. He targeted us as a generation of young black men. That was during the time where they were privatizing a lot of the jails and prisons also.
Yeah.
They were look, I went to University of Missouri in Columbia, what y'all call Mizzou. Everybody calls Mizzou. White boys in them big frat houses were some of the biggest cocaine dealers in Columbia, Missouri. And when they would get caught, they would get a slap on the wrist for moving tons of coke through that campus. But when I would come home in the summertime, my brothers would be gone for 5 and 10 years because they had that 1 gram of crack was equivalent to 100 grams of powder cocaine. Now you can't tell me that they didn't try to take out a whole group of us. And I don't care what them old ass baby boomer, coon, and greatest generation.
Hold on a second.
Hold on.
I'm a boomer. I'm a
Okay,
boomer.
yeah. And what I'm gonna say is this: y'all dropped the ball. Y'all got complacent.
Bullshit.
Y'all were happy because y'all.
How did they drop the
Bullshit.
ball? How did they drop the ball?
Look, y'all were happy
Bullshit.
because y'all got the good jobs. You thought you had made it. You sold out the hood. I witnessed.
Wait,
I was going to quickly ask John. I was going to quickly add the 100 to 1 crack cocaine sentencing that didn't come from the '94 crime bill. That was a different bill.
And I wanted to say also, see, if you look at your period of time in history, when they first really dropped the boom on the black community, it was the boomers who were getting hit with that shit. The boomers were the first guys.
I'm aware.
On the front line. Hold on 1 second, fam. Hold on.
Okay, go ahead.
The boomers were the guys on the front lines getting cold hammered in this. Okay,
they weren't
from 45 to 60, from 1945 to 64. Okay, that was a boomer generation. 45, 64. Okay,
I know what the boomer generation is.
Okay, that's when that
they weren't facing the numbers.
That's what that shit was. The boomers were getting hammered. The boomers were, especially in the black community. The boomers, many of us were part of the Panthers and all that kind of shit. We were of the most revolutionary group that was rolling. Many of us were there. Many of us got torn out the frame by that.
Bro, y'all basically were commandeered by like those Marxist socialist groups.
Hey, wait, hold on a second. Hold on.
Okay. Take all the way back to Roberson. They all were commandeered by these communist groups.
But John, you realize they also
Everybody stop for a second. If you say the word communist on this fucking live stream, I will kick your ass off this panel. We ain't no fucking culture warriors.
Oh right? Gosh. No, I was gonna quickly add.
Renaissance. Let me finish.
Is socialist better? Can I say that?
Socialist?
Nagone, everybody be quiet for a second.
You saying the black power?
Everybody be quiet for a second. If you're gonna cite socialism or communism, you have to cite what country that it comes from and how does it apply here to the United States. That's how we're going to do the socialist and communist thing, if you're going to cite that. I don't think it's true. I think it's unwarranted. But if you're going to cite that, cite what country it comes from and how it applies here. And if it's not right, then you got to lead the conversation. All right?
He's not going to be able to match that up. He's not going to even comprehend what the fuck you're talking about.
And that's why he's going to have to go.
Wait a minute. You said I'm not going to comprehend. Wait a minute. Didn't Paul Robeson, didn't he stand trial by the U.S. government?
Who's that?
Paul Robeson.
Yeah, he did. He's an alpha man. Well,
for what?
Yeah. Well. Hold on 1 second.
That was in the period of McCarthy.
Wait. We're getting too far afield here.
No, I'm tying it all in.
No, you're not tying a motherfucking thing together. We're talking about this crime bill right now.
Okay, all right.
And after you lose on that topic, we're going to go to something else.
Okay, that's fine.
So, the crime bill, you were wrong.
I wasn't wrong. How was I wrong?
The crime bill wasn't like what you're talking about on the power cocaine shit. Like, listen, I don't give a fuck about people who's selling drugs. I don't give a fuck about those people who got locked up. I don't give a fuck about people. Listen, I'm not even done yet. Okay. I don't give a fuck about people who sold poison to our own fucking people because they did not do what the fuck they were supposed to do, like you and went to college. I'm not trying to help those people at all. So when you come out here talking about the fucking crime bill, not everybody was a fucking criminal. Not everybody had the possession of fucking drugs on them. Not everybody wanted to sell that shit to people in the fucking community. I don't give a fuck about those people. Now the addicts that got locked up, okay, you got me there. But the people who want to brag like they were the dude back in the day doing this shit, I don't give a fuck about none of those people. I'm talking about educated people.
Most of the people who got locked up in the crime bill were addicts.
They sure were.
I won't agree. I don't agree with. No.
You don't agree? You don't agree?
Most of them were addicts.
Nagone, stop. Nagone, hold on a second.
Were not major sellers.
Nagone, hold on a second.
I knew plenty of hustlers that got locked up, and they weren't no addicts.
Yeah, I don't give a fuck. Nagone.
Okay, go ahead.
Dude, I don't give a fuck about hustlers.
Okay.
I don't give a fuck about them. They're not even human to me. Okay. You pick this poison up and you sell it to your own fucking people? This is what you want to defend?
Hey, MOT.
I'm glad. Hey, man, I'm glad them motherfuckers got locked up. I'm glad them hustling niggas got locked up. I'm glad they did. I'm glad they got locked up.
Can I interject?
Hey, man, we don't defend pookies and pieces of shit over
MOT,
here.
Can I interject?
This ain't the fucking panel for this.
Let me say this. I was blessed to have two, as I said, college-educated professional parents. I was in the middle of the desegregation program that was big here in St. Louis. So,
were your parents boomers?
Yeah.
Okay. So you blame the boomers, huh?
Okay. So check this out.
I'm talking about these whack motherfuckers come here talking.
But boomers got caught up in that too. Because think about how many guys came back.
The front lines.
No, but think about how many people came back from Vietnam that were boomers that were addicted to drugs too. So I mean, it would have messed them up too.
My dad was.
On the front lines.
But the Air Force helped my pops get off of heroin and actually sent him to Duke for medical school, but he didn't finish. So a lot of the soldiers and the airmen over there in Vietnam got hooked on heroin, and the U.S. government was complicit in it.
Well, you know, we could talk about that because a lot of people got hooked on drugs. My uncle Carl was over there.
Okay.
But they got swept up in that. But they got swept up in that same crime bill as well that you're trying to blame them for.
A lot of guys got swept up.
It was not as bad. But let me just address what MOT was saying. MOT, look, I don't like thugs. I don't like these street niggas either. But I do understand that everybody got a story. I knew plenty of people that came from the city. I live in the suburbs. I knew plenty of people that got bused from the city that were very, they had all this talent in the world, but they homes, because you got to remember those boomers, their parents, they was on crack. They got addicted. That was the generation that thought that was the party drug. So the kids were fucked up. They didn't have no other choice. So you can't be oblivious to that, man. I was lucky. Not everybody was lucky like me or you.
Listen, man, you are missing the fucking point again. I don't give a fuck what your parents were. If you picked up that fucking shit and sold it in the fucking community, I don't give a fuck about you.
How are they going to eat?
I don't give a fuck about the meeting. If it takes for them selling out the entire other community, you're putting the onus wrong. So it's okay okay, you got kids?
Yes.
How would you like it if I sold poison to your fucking child so I needed to eat? Is that okay?
Hey, MOT, no, it wouldn't.
Is that okay? Yes or fucking no? Is that okay?
No, it's not.
Get the fuck off my panel.
Why?
Why does your ass need to go?
I thought we was having a discussion.
We're not having no more discussions with niggas like you.
Bye. Hey, MOT, they wasn't selling the
fuck out of here. Man, we're getting this fucking conversation back on track. And any pookie fucking defending nigga, I'm gonna do your motherfucking ass the same fucking way. Take your motherfucking ass over there to the pro-blacks with that fucking bullshit. This motherfucker said that he had love for these hoodlum motherfuckers, but when it came to his fucking child, he wanted his child to have protection. You cannot deal with niggas like this. Fuck them. I don't care about them. If your parents didn't do that shit for you, I don't want everybody else being a victim in the fucking environment because you didn't have an upbringing that was right. That's not good for everybody to take a downfall because somebody else had a bad upbringing. That doesn't mean that somebody else gets to be a victim. This is the type of shit I'm talking about. Coming from grown motherfuckers' mouths who are college fucking educated. Saying that What about the people who didn't do it right? What they got to eat? Fuck them. If they got to eat by destroying everything around them, how is this shit ever going to get solved? How is this shit ever going to get fucking solved? He wanted both fucking ways, and that's some shit that we can't have.
Can't
Because
have both.
unprincipled motherfuckers just like that. It's fine for everybody else to be a victim, but just not his child. Not his child. I got love for all my Pookie friends, but guess what? Not in my backyard. I'm like, dude, listen. It's either this shit is okay or it's not okay.
Yeah, there's
And
no
that's exactly
middle
what the
ground.
fuck you do. You have them go over there and help they fucking people. Don't come here trying to make me feel sorry for people who sold that shit to fucking people who look like us. These are the people who would be sitting there and say nothing if there was a crime in the fucking community, as long as it didn't happen to his fucking child. Well, that guy got to eat.
And here's the thing: they didn't even do it like the Italians and take money and then go legit. It
Hell
was
no.
take money and do bullshit.
Man, listen, let's get back to this fucking to this.
They did it to get more pussy, because that's why they did it in the first fucking place. They didn't fucking build shit with that shit that they.
And they fucked a lot of shit up at the same time.
Of course they did. They didn't really care about nothing. The only thing they cared about was satisfying themselves. And you got all these pretentious wannabe Pookie affiliated motherfuckers here who want to come in with all this fucking understanding shit with people who are nothing but domestic fucking terrorists, destroyed the fucking environment to which they were raised in. But you have to keep a closed mouth to it. But hey, he got to eat. No, I'm not having that shit.
And if this was Africa, especially in Kenya, Nigeria, and these places, they just kill you. They don't.
Yeah, Sharia law kick in.
Well, not even just Sharia law in the Christian areas, man. They just kill you. Iran is the same way. Iran, they kill you. If you get caught with drugs, selling drugs, they kill you. In
Duterte's doing that in the Philippines, killing you, killing you.
Duterte,
they're bragging about it.
Yeah, Duterte, they want to bring human rights violations against him. The United States. Imagine that.
Even Trump wanted to propose a death penalty for drug dealers. He talked about that.
Yeah. Yeah. Mitch McConnell said that the bill was too soft. The bill was too soft. This is Mitch McConnell. Just got reelected a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, and that's what I was trying to tell him on the whole powder cocaine thing. That didn't even come from the 94 crime bill. That came
I know, but it's a talking point that's been used so many times
of 86.
They don't even know how to fucking
and then he want, but on top of that, then he want to say the black power, black people, the civil rights with black power was communist.
Fuck out of here, communist.
That's what he tried to say. And that's what the FBI
commandeered by communists and socialists.
Commandeered by communists, and that's exactly what J. Edgar Hoover and the rest of them were trying to say when they were trying to disenfranchise you in the whole deal. See, this is what people need to watch when they watch Eyes on the Prize and this kind of thing. They need to watch this kind of stuff and understand what the real history is. I'm just getting a little. I have to say, I'm tired. I'm just doing a lot of stuff, so I'm just a little tired here. But it's getting to be too much to listen to these Negroes, man. It's the level of learning that these guys have and the level of history that they have is very frightening. It's very frightening. The ignorance.
It's all just based on talking points. It's all just based on
crazy talking points.
I want to protect Pookie. I really want him to survive.
Yeah, but there's also an alternative to this MOT. They're also saying that the 1994 crime bill, is anti. They're using that to justify being anti-left, basically.
Yeah, that's exactly.
And that's why you should go to the right. But the fact check says otherwise. That Mitch McConnell, who's reelected a few weeks ago, he wanted more. He wanted to be harsher. So you imagine that these guys that they're supporting on the right, if they had their way, they would use Krylon B on you, man.
Yeah, Cyclone B, man. Cyclone B, choke your ass out in the jail cell, and that'd be it. Crank that shit out, man, in one of those big Ford truck motors.
Come to the conversation with a dual-minded bullshit, and they want people to just sit here and just like, dude, sorry man, I ain't got no time for you. Go form your own platform for fuck niggas and dual-minded bullshit, dude. I ain't got no time for that shit.
Blaming shit on the boomers, talking all crazy, and then saying your civil rights, you Black Power movement, all this was communist. It was communist, and here we are trying to get the same things that whites have basically tried to segregate you from, and that's a communist movement.
What they need to understand is that Biden is more conservative than Trump is.
He's very conservative. He's very conservative.
Biden is essentially a blue dog Democrat.
Yeah,
he is.
He was. I mean, he was seen with Strom Thurmond and these guys working with them.
Probably the bluest of the blue dog Democrats.
And when you look at Obama, and Obama said, well, why did he grab this guy? Not only because he had a lot of, connections in the Congress and all that, because he worked with these far right wing, Democrats, these Dixiecrats. It was because that he understood the center right game. And he wanted to balance it out with what he had. And it turned out that these guys that Obama and him, they ran pretty much a fairly it was a centrist, but it was more center right. Now they talked about the healthcare piece. Well, you start to look at where we are with rising costs of healthcare and how this is going to destroy our economy. In the next 12 years, we've got to come up with something. So, and the Clintons and all them people have been trying to do this for quite a few years. I remember when Jack Kemp was running for president back in the late 80s as a Republican. They were trying to get a comprehensive health care plan. That's coming out of the Republican Party. This has been coming out of both. This is a lot of people don't understand that. But anyway, go ahead. I don't want to sidetrack.
The thing is, man, it's just that at the end of the day, man, this whole idea that we have these street aficionados who want these people to face no consequences for what they did in the past, but don't want to serve their children up. I got a problem with that. I just got a real problem with that. Because it's crazy, man. It's just insane.
Yeah, but MOT, how are they supposed to eat?
Ridiculous.
I mean, do you expect them to go down to the Salvation Army and get a bag of groceries? You crazy?
Nah, man. Why don't I leave my window open for them? Yeah. Why don't I do that?
The hole in that argument is always, like I said, it's never, hey, I did this just to make a month's rent. It turns into a lifestyle with no exit strategy.
Yeah, $300 Louis Vuitton belts, unisex, not even men's belts, unisex belts. Guys spending money on unisex belts.
They sold a lot of these guys who were really selling drugs. They did it because they liked it. Even these big drug dealing women. I forget what this. Forgetting her name now, but she was a big out of Detroit, big drug dealing female. Actually had a weave business that was damn near that was as profitable. Weave was as valuable as cocaine was per pound. It was literally that. But she backed out of that and wanted to sell the drugs because she liked it. A lot of these people liked what they do. They liked it. They like selling these drugs. That's what these guys don't want to talk about.
All colors of Jordans, Louis Vuitton belts, unisex belts, skinny jeans and stuff like that. That's they love it, man. White
Rolex watches and colorful swatches. I'm digging in pockets. Motherfuckers can't stop it. Oh, sorry.
Yeah. I mean, how else was he supposed to eat? He has to poison somebody else to eat.
Yeah.
I mean, we have to have a genocide so one person can feel alpha.
It's insane.
In what other society is this going down?
Man, well.
I have a friend from Damascus, man. He tells me stories all the time about Syria, man, and they don't tolerate that up there. They have very few jails because the consequences are so harsh. You don't want to go to jail. It's like a dungeon.
And you're getting torn out the frames. Because those guards are walking up and giving you a beating fucking first thing in the morning and one at night, and that's how they leave it. So you are left in the belly of the beast. People don't want to be there. Hard motherfuckers don't want to be there. So
I'm telling you, man, like, dude, if my grandfather was alive and he would have heard that, man, he would have found out where the dude stayed at. No. The child is having these drugs tonight, and you gonna like it, and you gonna sit there, and you gonna watch it happen.
Yeah, you got a question in the chat, Nagone.
Go ahead. What is the question?
DE's asking you, did you remember the dealer from Chicago West Side that was buried in his caddy?
Yeah.
That's a big grave, man.
Yeah.
That's a big grave.
Yeah. I'm forgetting some of these guys' names. I'm trying to remember what this woman's name was again. Damn, man, because I blogged on this, man, a couple of years ago, and I'm forgetting this female's name. But they got a whole lot. I mean, women, women up in here doing this. Major league dealers. Now she's like a minister now. She's cleaned up her life, and she's like a minister after she did about 15 years or damn it 20 years in jail. Now she's a minister, but she found the Lord. But yeah, yeah. It's just crazy, man. It's like I said, I have no compassion for them. That's why they say, "Oh, Jay-Z's my man." Well, I sold pounds, I sold this, and I really don't want my son ain't fuck with that, but I don't want my grandson listening to that. Not really my idol. But anyway,
well, you have the same thing in the manosphere. Instead of drugs, it's disinformation.
Yeah, it is a drug.
Yeah, disinformation dealers in the manosphere. Selling that stuff with a hoodie on their head, with a fitted hat on their head. You want some of that disinformation? I got that blue magic for you.
Yeah.
Got that blue magic for you.
I got that orange dust, man. I got that orange dust for you.
Just hit that Cash App, man. I'll give you some more of that disinformation. You know that election was stolen, right? Stop the steal, bro. Here, take another sniff.
Yeah, man. Ignorance is empowering.
And that was set up by Roger Stone. He set that up about almost 3 years ago, in anticipation of this, and he set that up. That was his whole thing. Roger Stone and their crew set up Stop the Steal.
Yeah,
and they made money. They made a lot of money on it. They're making a lot of money on it right now.
Yeah, take another hit. Take another hit.
Take another hit. That shit good. Yeah,
no. Yeah, man. I mean, you have that. You have that Guiliani sweat coming down your head, man. No, taking your head, man.
I can hook you up one of them joints too, man. Don't worry. We can get that shit rolling down the top of your head real slow, man.
Yeah, so many of his people went to jail.
Yeah.
But what about the people in the manosphere who are selling this disinformation, man? How many of them? Where's the 2020 manosphere bill?
Yeah.
2020 disinformation bill.
Yeah.
If you got a panel, if you're a content creator and you're pushing disinformation saying somebody stole an election and you don't have any evidence to prove it and you taking money for it, yeah, you a disinformation dealer, man.
Yeah. They saying they gonna come up with it, Nagone. Don't worry about it, man. They gonna have the facts, Nagone.
I got these cheeseburgers, man. This car, man.
Oh, really now? Let's come with these facts. Man, you know facts, but you're right. You're very right about that. Selling disinformation like a drug. Agreed.
I mean, but it's hard to turn the manosphere into like a shine downtown. It's hard to do, man, because it's so easy to sell disinformation because these people are not informed, but they're gonna become responsible once they start dealing with certain kinds of people. And it's like, dude, this stuff isn't going to work. These people are lying to you because they know deep down you want to believe this stuff anyway, right? And everybody just sitting around like, hey man, he got to eat. Got to respect the dude's hustle. What are you doing, man? What are you doing, man? You're messing up a dude's money. He got to be able to eat. Like, what? Why should they be able to eat off of this? Why?
No, you can go to every state has a transitional affairs office. If you're a resident of that state, you can go down there and you can get assistance. They'll find you a shelter if you need it, and they give you cash. I think they give you up to like $250 to $500. Every state has this. They don't turn down anyone because it's a part of their social welfare system. They have to support all these people. So the idea that, you get food stamps, you get all that stuff. So the idea that, he had to do this because he had to eat, I'm saying, what did he do with the money? But, Freeway Ricky Ross made millions of dollars and has nothing to show for it. Other than a thick beard. You got a thick beard and that's about it.
But I give him credit. He speaks against that drug shit all day long, boy. He thought that shit did a lot. He looked at that shit and said, I did a lot of damage.
Yeah.
I did a lot of damage. He understands it. He looked at it so politically what that was about, so economically what this game was really all about. He saw it. It fed his system. It was a beast. They fed off of, and you were actually part of the chum, but didn't even realize it. But
Frank Lucas said the same thing too.
Yeah, Frank Lucas. They all looked. I said we did a lot. We did a lot of damage, man. We did a lot of fucking damage, man. They look back on this shit, and I know that they want to get right with their souls, because I guess they figured by the time they hit the resurrection, they might get a little worried who they're gonna see waiting for their ass. But that's what these guys are worried about, man. They did a lot of damage. That's why, when I heard, Duterte and all them tan folks out the frame like there's no tomorrow over that, I was like, well, you come down on Duterte. What is he doing? I'm like, man, he doing what he got to do. Shit, leave him alone. It's his country. Don't say nothing about him, what he's doing over there. If he tan drug deals out the frame, let him do it. I know this. When China had to go cold turkey after the opium wars, and they won their civil war, and got and then ultimately got the got the gringos, got the white boys out of there. They went cold turkey. You know how China went cold turkey with their drug dealers and drug addicts. Even it was terrible, but they they got off it very quickly. They got off it very quickly. They
had a very nice severance package if you didn't.
Oh, they had the penultimate severance package. A one-way trip to a first-class ticket to the resurrection.
Early.
But the thing is, what's worse, right? The 1994 crime bill or the Republicans disenfranchising Black people's 15th Amendment?
They're trying to the disenfranchisement of your 15th Amendment. They're trying to basically make you non-citizens.
Yeah.
You are being taxed without representation. You cannot even.
Fine with them.
Which is fine.
Yeah, because hustlers don't pay taxes.
Yeah.
Mike, you saw that Greg Plast article I sent out yesterday.
I think we covered it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You're talking about Greg
we covered it
Plast,
on the show.
Yeah.
We covered it on the show. It's just that you have to understand that most of these people are new to a process that is interesting, but this is why you take a side and you stick with it. There's less to go through when you just take a side and stick with it. But when you go through that, I'm just going to do this for the time, I'm telling you, you're going to put yourself in a little trap and you're going to be there for a while. And that's what people did with this Trump thing, because I see what it comes down to now. Because these people are not conservatives. Because conservatives don't want you to vote. They don't want you to participate in the political process. They're not even with any of that stuff. So it's like they were only conservative because they thought that they was going to get these women in order and they was going to be able to swoop in and be able to be turned to at the time of need whenever the government made them suffer a little bit.
Yeah,
That's
they
what
would exactly. They would count on the government to be the hammer and to get your woman in line. Nope, not gonna happen. Getting your woman in line is your job, and that's where it's going to require work. These guys are sitting back waiting for somebody to do it for them. Not gonna happen. You know, that's why they're so down with this, and will accept that white supremacists and these guys coming at you, you know, with their own interests that are not yours, and are disenfranchising you as you speak, and you're running down with them saying this is good, and then you have somebody else coming here saying, yeah, your civil rights game and all that, you know, because you were a communist. I mean, you
Let's
can't
that communist shit, man. It's just like, bro, listen.
You can't be serious. I mean, you can't make this shit up.
I'm like,
you can't make it up, man.
I'm like, okay, communist. What administration?
I mean,
what does that even mean?
See, the communist socialism thing, Marxist thing, is a smear campaign, right? It's meant to smear your credibility without actually having a complete understanding of the terminology itself.
It's a racialized dog whistle.
Yep.
That's all it is.
The ironic.
Go ahead.
No, I was just going to quickly add the ironic thing. If you look, you know, prior to the 60s, you actually had people who were full-blown communists who actually were even organizing. People like
there was a communist party. There was a communist party in the United States.
Bayard Rustin, you know,
I've never heard anybody say it. I have never heard anybody say there was an actual communist party in the United States. There actually was.
Yes, you have people in there deep who are actually doing work. So it's just become it's kind of become, like you said, a dog whistle or a catch-all term to try to insult someone. It's like calling someone a leftist now.
Yeah,
people can't even define it.
Well, it's not even the term leftist or liberal is meant to, you know, connotate GAY or FAG to you now. That's why I push back against it, because I know exactly what that means. I know exactly what they're trying to do. They're trying to make it seem like the conservatives or the Republicans are all masculine, you know, and it's all the liberals who are just walking around with rainbow flags. And I'm saying to myself, look at that Million MAGA march. A lot of rainbow flags there for Trump, bro.
A lot of rainbow flags for there. But nobody speaks about that. That's a whole another angle.
You know, they don't even care, man. They don't even care. They just want to be misinformed to be happy. And they're like, well, agree to disagree. No. Disagree to disagree. And if you're actually able to survive on your own, take your ass over there and produce. Stop trying to hide yourself a mind around more decent people than yourself, because it just ain't gonna work. You know, it's the last meal, man. These people, they don't have the ability to survive on their own. So they're trying to join any camp and try to block their way into a situation because they respect hustle, not real work and tangibilities. So they just try to, oh yeah, well, I'll just be a conservative. Like, oh, okay, now. Oh, okay. Now they're back to conservative 1.0 where they don't want your ass to vote now.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Million MAGA march. None of these black motherfuckers from YouTube there.
Oh no.
Stick out like a sore thumb.
Well, there were black people there. They just wasn't from this space, right? There's a lot of black women there, coincidentally. But the point I'm making here is that
oh, really? That crowd looked pretty. I was trying to look for them. I didn't look too long, but I was like, this looks like a bunch of white folks out here.
No, when MOT does the scheduling for it, we'll do the replay on it. Very very good coverage that they did over there, capturing a lot of shines in the MAGA bubble. So what I'm saying here is that these guys think that by denouncing the 1994 crime bill or bringing it up is a way to denounce the left. And I'm saying
that's right.
I'm not even concerned about the crime bill. I mean, beneath the people who concentrate on the crime bill is somebody who's okay with somebody being a victim of a crime for somebody to eat. And then they want to tell you that there was no crime. The crime bill just came out of nowhere for no reason. It's like, what are you talking about? What on earth are you talking about? It can't even be real.
I mean, they were locking niggas up for books. I mean, they didn't take their books back to the library. They were locking them up, giving them, 20 years for a book.
Yeah, man.
Was that a crime bill too?
I mean,
Janet Reno said. Well, I was going to say, Janet Reno, who saw that at the time, said, "Hey, look, you're gonna, this is gonna be hard on a lot of black folks because you're gonna come in here and really tear a lot out the frame. Yeah, you gonna get these drug dealers and other guys, but you gonna sweep up a lot of other people in this joint that really need not get swept up. You need to be thinking twice about that, and they
But that's
still
the
went
thing.
forward, and
That's the
a
thing,
lot of
though.
people went with it. You had 2,500 murders in New York City. During that period, 1,000, 1,500, 2,000, almost 2,500. And that was in the city. That was behind a lot of crack and a lot of this bullshit. It's going crazy up in there. So,
Yeah, but that's not crime to go because they got to eat. So technically, that's not even counted. As crime.
And it was a lot of drug dealers fighting for turf and territory, and guys was getting smoked.
Sounds like people was trying to eat to me.
Yeah, that's what it was, and and black people who are very conservative about crime, that's why the Congressional Black Caucus and a lot of the people backed it up because they wanted to bring the crime down, but it was an overreach, and it was designed, and it was politically designed against us. But not everything the brother said or a lot of other people say about this is totally off the mark. So it was designed against us, but you had to look at it. There were a lot of guys.
But you went to college though. He went to college, but his brother's back at the house, which is suffering the consequences.
See, that's just shit. I don't play with that. But anyway, yeah, go ahead, man. Yeah, no, I don't fuck with that. That's bullshit.
No,
and that's back in the day too, when you could get good paying jobs even without going to college.
Yeah,
you're still talking about like blue collar jobs you can make a middle class living. So it's not even like you're looking at what we're in now.
That's right. Yeah, you can go to a factory. I remember in my town you had the sugar factory, and a lot of guys were trying to get in there. But I know that if you had a high school or barely had a high school degree, you get to the sugar factory. And back then, I'm thinking this is back in early 80s, they were paying 15, 16 an hour back then, which was the minimum wage I think was like $3 or $4. So you were just starting. That's where you were starting. By mid-career, you would be up there maybe close to 50 an hour. It was crazy. And, just at the sugar factory, man. I mean, folks are making a lot of money. Folks were living quite well, in the factories, and I remember that. I remember that because I had a job there one summer. One summer, worked in the sugar factory one summer. Came off construction and worked in the sugar factory one summer and did very well there as well. As a college junior, so doing that, so it was kind of interesting. So yeah, you can make really big money and up in Terrytown and these places, the GM plant and all that. Jobs. Brothers was working like a motherfucker. Guys did have a lot of free income, so I guess you could mess with the cocaine and all that if you wanted to, but that's kept a lot of guys around. There was money kind of flowing.
Mm-hmm.
It was.
That's a talking point that usually just goes along with that, where those guys got to eat. Like, man, get your ass out of this space. The manosphere is not a space for fucking prookie pretenders. You know what? Go find your own fucking space. Form your own shit up where a whole bunch of failed motherfucking dudes who want to sit around and sponge off of each other. Dude, go over there and do that shit. We don't need your motherfucking ass over here.
Well, he's in the chat. He says there was a recession in the early 90s when Clinton started. Stop lying. A recession that started in the early 90s. Clinton didn't take office until 92.
So he mean George H.W.'s bad economy? That's what he's talking about?
No. The early 90s.
Reagan's bad economy trickled. Yeah, Reagan's bad economy trickled into the 90s. Yeah.
Oh, go ahead, Mike. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying that Reagan's bad economy, Reaganomics, trickled off into the 90s, which created that recession. Japan was decimated in the 90s for a recession. It wasn't have anything to do with Clinton.
It's the economy, stupid.
Yeah.
I can break it down. By 1994, 1995, shit was fucking pumping. But 96, you had the .com, all that shit coming in. That shit was going ham. That shit ran like a savage for the 8 years. That's why people loved Clinton, because the economy was so fucking good. Motherfuckers were getting paid. You had the .com era and all that was busting with milk. As we said, that shit was off to the races. And shit really didn't kind of slow down again until really 2001 when you had the 9/11 situation happen, and that's what kind of put a wrinkle in things. And then Bush came in here, with his bullshit, and shit started getting, shit was still all right, but then shit was getting kind of rocky, throughout that period. And then by 2008, 2007, 2008, the show was over. They closed the whole damn store on you, and we've been kind of digging out of it ever since. But the Clinton era was about one of the most, and I was rocking and rolling. I was on Wall Street like crazy. Shit was going ham. It was going ham. So nah, man. The '90s weren't like all down and out. The early part of it, but once Clinton got in there, and started working some of his programs, things really started to really key up, key up. Now, I will give credit to George Bush Sr. with his tax raise. That's what actually really set the tone for the Clinton economy. To be quite frank with you, had Bush been reelected, he would have had a great second term, but that didn't happen. And Clinton was able to grab a hold of that and made the most of it. And that was the first time really in many years that we took that he balanced the budget. We came out with a surplus.
And somebody came in and fucking destroyed it, right?
Last time we seen it, and then this ass, and then Bush the Younger came in, and next thing you know, after 9/11. We were spending $1 billion a day in Iraq, and that's his history.
Yeah.
That's his history.
And Trump spent more money in 4 years on the military than Obama did in 8.
Yeah, he did.
Make it make sense. These guys are
and
trying
Mike,
to ride the wave.
And Mike, and then where they gave Obama hell for a $900,000, $900 billion stimulus. Trump and them just rolled on in there, man, real quick, and just threw out $1 trillion, man. Threw out $1 trillion of corporate welfare and write-offs, man, to the
absolutely fine, absolutely fine, because it's a corporation.
Wealthy. Nobody said anything. $1 trillion, $1 trillion.
That's absolutely fine because they're big companies, not niggas. So
it was all good, man.
As long as it's not black people, they could be able to talk about it because it's not black people.
Clock that under fiscal conservatism. I mean, y'all define that one for me.
Yeah. Hey, Nagone, I did want to ask you something a little bit off subject real quick. I saw David Dinkins just passed. First black mayor, I guess only black mayor of New York City. I was just curious your thoughts on, living under his administration, anything good, bad.
Okay. My view was Dinkins, I thought was very good, but you were in a racially charged city at the time. Things were really charged. Dinkins was coming down pretty hard on crime, but he was also coming down pretty hard on the police as far as police excessive violence and so forth.
Yeah. I saw that he tried to put a civilian review board in place, and there was a riot in the street of police, pretty much.
And that's when the Guiliani came up in there. I call him Guiliani. I never call him Giuliani. I call him Guiliani. That's when Guiliani got in there and was with that crowd that was calling Dinkins a nigger and everything else like that. And he was in that crowd with them. So we rode that, but that was about really putting some shackles on the police. And we already saw crime under his years. His crime started coming after the second year he was in. So things really started because he put more police on the streets. He gave police what they wanted. All right. So things started to happen. They started hitting this crack shit and everything else like that pretty hard. In 89, they really started coming down on that. The crime rate started to come down. And then, he started, kind of reining in the cops a little bit. He gave them a lot of money, gave them more police. And they started kind of running like a criminal organization. And there was, I don't want to get also into that and start getting all over the police game, but things got really crazy there. And, they hit back against it. What I thought Dinkins did that was wrong was he tried to placate to these savage whiteys, and it was my view was he shouldn't have been doing that. I said he should. We always said Dinkins stick more to your community, running around wearing yarmulkes all over the place, running around the Jews and running around over in Staten Island with the with their things. Those people who weren't going to really support your black community that got you in, black and a large part of the Latino community who was down with them. You should be solidifying that a lot more. And I think he vacated that base a little bit, and that's what cost him in the election. And people felt that he was taking a lot of heat from white folks and weren't really looking out for black people the way he needed to. And I think some of it was unfair, but I think it was racially challenged, charged environment, and a lot of black people just didn't feel that he was down with him as he should have been, and they didn't come out the second time that he got elected, and he lost by about the same margin that Giuliani lost the first time around. And then Giuliani came in and then declared war on black people after that. He got in and declared war. No,
I figured I saw some dynamics, some parallels, kind of like, you get this Obama, not saying Dinkins is, but, you get this first black, person in a prominent position. And then you get this wild swing to the, the opposite end, what you get with Trump. And, seeing the way Giuliani's acting now, I'm like, this guy must have just been out of control when he was in charge of New York.
He was Trump before Trump. And one of the first acts he did was he came in on the, on New York City Mosque #1. He came in there and sent the police in there, and they raided the place and shot one of the brothers in there and killed him. Then the Nation of Islam sat down and had a meeting with him. They didn't go crazy. They didn't riot. They sat down and said, we're helping to work in the community, clean things up and so forth. And you're sending your goons in on us like an attack force. What are you doing? And they basically, sat down and kind of had to have a real serious meeting with Giuliani because he was coming in there to declare war. He came in there to declare war. A police officer also got shot in the head at a stakeout. And apparently, the police were in on this guy, this one other police officer getting shot. Because people questioned, well, how did this guy get in and get around the back of this cop, put a bullet in his head? And there was a lot of, shit going on inside the police department. That was highly fucked up. Bernard Kerik, who was the chief of police at the time, who ended up going to jail for corruption. Yeah, we ended up going to jail for corruption. But you were dealing with a relatively drug infested police force, making money and doing a lot of side shady shit that, in my view, Giuliani was aware of. But anyway, they were in Queens. This one cop got shot in the back of his head, and then Giuliani just said, "Yeah, okay, this is the open season on niggas now. This is what we gonna do." And this was supposed to have brought crime down, but it really didn't, because a lot of the areas in the city, that had certain kind of crime issues were drug addicted issues, and a lot of people were coming off the drugs. The crime rate started to really come down, and they were coming down on the Dinkins. And then, of course, Giuliani tried to claim credit for all that because he's in office. So as things are happening, you can claim credit for that. So people gave him credit for all of that. But it was happening before he came in, and that was something Dinkins didn't really play up as well as he should have. But anyhow, there were a lot of things that were bad, and Rudy was very much a polarizing force in New York City. He really was very much against the black community, came at you savagely, and whites liked him for that. They liked him for that. Where when the mob and these other guys were running around the city and doing what they wanted to do, he made it a big deal. Well, I closed down the fish market, so that was a big deal. But yet, they were still running construction, bid rigging, murders all over the fucking place. And he wasn't really slapping them down the way that he should have. He tried to make a big deal with John Gotti or whatever, but that, that's one guy. That wasn't really what was going on. But he didn't come after his community, way he came after the black community. You know, people saw that, you know, and they rewarded him in Mob Haven, such as Staten Island, where they held him up, you know, on the shoulders when they were making a lot of money on it. So it was crazy, man. So, you know, he was a savage, and only thing that resurrected him really was 9/11. You know, that's what resurrected him, because before he was going out, you know, he was looked upon very terribly. Amadou Diallo and all that shit had gone down. There's a lot of ill shit went on that these guys were promoting, and it was open season on black people, man. It was open season. People liked it. That's what they liked. They liked that, and that's what made him famous. So, you know, that's all I can say. Go ahead.
Hey, MOT, how long do you think this grift, you know, getting back on subject, how long do you think this grift can last for with the administration?
The current one?
Yeah.
Well, you have to understand that once Trump is out of office, the grift is going to start, because they're all going to turn into the new version of Fox News. They're not going to cover anything except for, they're just going to become all culture warriors after that point. They're just going to switch from lapdog to attack dog. That's it. They're just going to be doing all the culture warrior stuff. Democrat this, wrong. They're never going to cover why there's 7-2 Supreme Court haven't overturned Roe v. Wade or made the Second Amendment stronger, or any of the other stuff that could be happening. They're just going to do the culture warrior thing. You know, same as Sean Hannity did, Rush Limbaugh, Mark Levin, and Coulter, Michelle Malkin, Michael Savage. That's what they're going to do. They're going to become the black versions of that, because there's a lot of black men who need to hear that type of stuff, and they will pay to hear it. Just like how the women will go to Derek Jackson to listen to that guy lie to them. A lot of people want to go to these grifters to hear the grifters lie to them. That's just what you're going to have happen. So this stuff is going to be here for a while and forever. And guess what? The money's going to roll in. These guys, they don't care. You know, you're going to have the educated elite still trying to gaslight black men over things that are happening, when all they got to do is just leave uncultured women alone. So yeah, this whole thing is going on this status quo kind of merry-go-round, and nothing's ever going to change, because these people don't want to pick up, move, and learn about the process and get the hell off the field. They want to do things some other kind of way. So that's the way I'm seeing it.
Yeah, the way I'm seeing it, okay, he wants to start. The rumors are he's going to start a war with Iran. You do that, you won't get back into office in 2024. If you run, you're not going to get back in there. No one's going
to be able to run after this. After this,
that's what I'm saying. Like, all the things that I'm looking at on the radar. You know, barricading himself in the White House. You know, he's going to sleep in the basement or something like that. You know, going to war with Iran. You ran your whole campaign on the idea that, you know, you're not going to get into any foreign wars. I'm pulling the troops out of Afghanistan and pulling them out of Iraq. Yeah, to put them right back into Iran. That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. I mean, so he's not pulling it. He's just repositioning it.
No, he's trying to play a game. He's trying to raise money. He was spoken to. I think motherfuckers like, okay, motherfucker, I hear you. You can play your game like that. Back the fuck down. Back down. You know what time it is. You know how we roll. Back the fuck down. And he's on out of here on the 20th of January. Like my father say, January. Be ready to roll out of there.
Oh yeah, someone definitely, the mood swing he's had in the past 48 hours. Yeah, someone had to stand up to him.
He was spoken to. Okay, he was spoken to. You talking about the deep state niggas came in there and talked to him, and they called him on the phone. Yo, Don, listen, man, listen to me. And that was the end. That's how that went. Because you know these motherfuckers ain't playing around out here. They ain't playing out all this dough, not all shit that's going on, fucking up our position, and we're in a precarious place anyway. This guy's gonna come here and blow up the apple cart when he on his way out. Get the fuck out of here. They'll carry this motherfucker out of here.
They probably called in Dick Cheney to like give him a little call, or give him a little pep talk.
Nah, man, it was some real deep state dude that it goes around and just cleans clocks. And he knew, listen, dog, we're the cleaners. You know what time this is. You know what time it is. You know, and he was like, "Oh shit, oh shit. All right, we'll go on with the lawsuits. We'll keep it. We'll keep up the front. Let's raise some money and get the fuck up out of here." So that's pay off my debts and shit. Let's raise some dough. Let's keep this bullshit going. Let me get the fuck up out of here. Just because these guys ain't playing around, man.
Yeah, because even Henry Kissinger is looking at this dude. I mean, as old as Kissinger is, he's damn near 100 years old, but his mind still works. His mind still works. So he had an interview last week. I think it was with not Bloomberg. I forget which organization it was. But basically, man, he's saying you got to be careful with Trump. This dude is a lethal weapon at this point. He's wild. You don't know what he's going to be doing. And this is coming from Kissinger.
Now, when you got serious made motherfuckers like this dipping around, but they underestimated Obama and they underestimated Biden. Because when I saw Biden stutter real quick, he went back to his stuttering because I saw it triggered him. But he chilled. They were like, he'll leave. Don't worry. These are made men. These guys have cleaned a lot of clock. They've taken a lot of niggas out. Fuck it. They did that. He said to 8 years, cleaning with Obama, with Obama Cheech. These guys ain't fucking around. They ain't fucking around. So, constitutionally, ain't gonna be no constitution about it. They ain't gonna be. I hadn't thought about it. Now. This is true gangster shit right here.
You heard Chris Christie already came out and said,
yes.
Hey, the jig is up, man. If you can prove that there's voter fraud, there's show evidence. Either that or get the fuck out of office, man.
Or get the fuck out. Okay. I saw when it went down when George Bush the Younger came out and said, the election is over. He lost. That was it. You got ex-presidents and Clinton quiet. Clinton a stone cold killer. These motherfuckers are quiet. This nigga don't know what he's fucking with. He don't know what he's fucking around with. He does. For a while, I was a little worried. Then I started looking around and said, look at these stone cold killers around him. These are stone cold killers. This guy think he's gonna walk around and get live like that? Up and down.
Kissinger
play your
said,
game, play it out in the courts, but you leave it playing, fam. Anyway, go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, Kissinger is saying that if this guy starts a war with Iran, you're gonna have World War III immediately.
Exactly. Look at all
especially in America's weakest state right now. There ain't no way in it. Nah.
And they're worried about that.
The Fifth Fleet is still over there. I mean, an attack. I mean, remember, what's the general, man? In 2000, who did the tabletop exercise? I can't remember his name right now.
Petraeus?
Not Petraeus.
No. Let me find his name.
McMaster?
No.
Tabletop. You sure that was a McMaster, fam?
Oh, Paul Van Riper. Okay. In 1999, he did the tabletop exercise. 2000 did the tabletop exercise. Blue team versus red team. U.S. being the blue team and Iran being the red team. In his exercise, he factored in that even with all the technological advancement that the United States military has, that a willing and able military with less resources will take you down. And he proven that the first defeat would be the U.S. in the Persian Gulf at 25 to 30,000 deaths of soldiers within 24 hours.
What was his name again, Mike?
Paul Van Riper.
Yeah.
Okay.
But we saw this in Vietnam. We saw this in Vietnam.
Actually, let me share my screen real quick. I'll show you right now, just because I know some of these Trumpistas, these guys would he doesn't know what he's talking about. He's not a real general. Okay.
Economic expansion and a president who demonstrates.
Can anybody see my screen?
See it.
Okay. This is from wearethemighty.com. That time, a Marine general led a fictional Iran against the U.S. military and won. Okay. In 2002, the U.S. military tapped Lieutenant General Paul Van Riper to lead the Red opposing forces of the most expansive military exercise in history. He was put in command of the inferior Middle Eastern inspired military force. His mission was to go against the full might of the American armed forces. In the first 2 days, he sank an entire carrier battle group. The exercise was called Millennium Challenge 2002. It was designed by the Joint Forces Command over the course of 2 years. It had 13,500 participants, numerous live and simulated training sites, and was supposed to pit an Iran-like Middle Eastern country against the U.S. military, which would be fielding advanced technology it didn't plan to implement until 5 years later.
A big war game, essentially.
Yes. The war game would begin with a forced entry exercise that included the 82nd Airborne and the 1st Marine Division. When the Blue Forces issued a surrender ultimatum, Van Riper commanded the Red Forces turned them down, since the Bush doctrine of the period included preemptive strikes against perceived enemies. Van Riper knew the Blue Forces would be coming for him. And they did, but the 3-star general didn't spend 41 years in the Marine Corps by being timid. As soon as the Navy was beyond the point of no return, he hit them and hit them hard. Missiles from land-based units, civilian boats, and low-flying airplanes tore through the fleet as explosive landed speedboats decimated the Navy using suicide tactics. I can't stand this. His code to initiate the attack was a coded message sent from the Marriotts of mosque at the call to prayer. In less than 10 minutes, the whole thing was over, and Lieutenant General Paul Van Riper was victorious. So this is top brass. This is top brass saying this.
Knowing this shit ain't gonna be no cakewalk.
And Iran has new missiles. They have something called the Onyx, which is basically the fastest supersonic cruise missile, better than the Exocet that took out the British. Sheffield.
Yeah.
So it's 3 times as fast than that, and really can't be shot down. Trump wants to go to war with this? You got top brass in the military saying this is not a good idea.
I saw Mitch McConnell, they talked to Mitch McConnell like, well, I don't believe we should be doing that. We should stay out of that. He spoke and said, it's not what we should be doing. He got nervous hearing about the president talking about this. So, he tries to do this shit. I think he's going to have a lot of problems. And his generals, and remember, his generals don't have to listen to him. They think the orders are crazy. They don't have to follow his orders. Mm-hmm. They don't have to do it. So
this is where we at, man.
No. He's talking real crazy, and that's a problem for our allies and everyone else in Europe. Theater Europe would be a huge problem. They're still buying oil and shit from Iran. Forget about it, man. This guy does this shit. It is going to be a massive problem. I don't think.
Yeah, the dollar is traded along with the oil.
That's exactly, and it's traded in dollars. You buy the petrodollar, is bought in American dollars, not bought in anything else.
So if you have a war where none of all your shipping lanes for energy are closed off, your currency is going to spiral out of control. You think it's bad now with COVID? Go start a war. People will be eating out of garbage cans, man. Mask or no mask, they'll be eating out of garbage cans real quick.
That's a fact. Dumpster diving. That ain't no bullshit.
I mean, but you're talking about a guy who did the so-called China thing.
with no plan, and it turned out the way exactly how it looked. So you're dealing with people who don't really care about consequences or anything.
I think he cares about these consequences. He said, "Go on in here, Joe, and go ahead and start this and start this and start up the transition." Yeah, he was talked to. Okay,
Yeah.
let's.
Yeah.
It's the best interest for the country. Yeah, people was talking to this nigga.
No, they were
Tell-
like, you want to do this here, or would you like it over here?
Oh, you like it over here? Do you
Yeah.
want to walk? Do you want to walk out, carry it out? It all depends on you now. It's on you. You know how we roll. You know how we fuck the Constitution, all that shit. You know how we roll, and that's what's going down.
Yeah, I'm just saying, man. I just think that guys have bet on the wrong horse, man. They bet on the wrong horse.
They can't take the L, man.
No.
Nah, they can't take the L, man.
They tried to form Devastator, and he fell. he came crumbling down. I should play that clip, man, because I think people will get a kick out of this, man. Because it's
which
so,
one?
The Transformer clip I sent you.
Oh,
he kicks Starscream out, but
oh, yeah.
You thought crazy.
So all these guys heading over to Parler now, with all the rest of their conservative friends now.
They go over to Parler now.
They're over to Parler, one of the most monitored new sites out there. The CIA, FBI, everybody up in the middle of that motherfucker, just listening and watching.
No, that's what you need to. That's what you need to tell them, MOT. That's what they need to go get off of YouTube. Go join your conservative friends over on the Parler.
Yeah.
Since this is too, since they feel, I guess, discriminated against and free speech rights violated on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. So,
let me play this real quick.
Good.
Will never be destroyed! Never, Megatron! I've taken it this far! I won't stop now! You'll have to do better than that!
Howard lied to Optimus Prime. Come in, Optimus.
This is Prime.
Have found Starscream and the Combaticons engaged in a firefight with Megatron and the Decepticons. They're at the Amalgamated Water and Power Plant on the north side.
Continue monitoring their activities. The Autobots and I will join you momentarily.
Roger! Out!
Autobots, transform and roll out! Enough of this! Constructicons, merge into Devastator! Leave no trace of their insidious existence.
I have prepared for this emergency, Megatron.
Combaticons, merge into Broticus! Bruticus angry. Bruticus devastate. Devastator.
You have to laugh because the way how the Combaticons merged up, it's just like two Pookies going at it, man. It looks just like the Manosphere. It looks exactly like the Manosphere.
Well, this is great.
Hilarious, man. Absolutely hilarious, man. I must have cracked
up. I mean, but look at, okay. So if you listen to the actual Constructicons, you have to listen to the names. I swear to God, these sound like some black names if I ever fucking heard of.
Scavenger, Hightower, Long Haul, Mixmaster, Skipjack, Scrapper, Overload, Demolisher, Scrap Metal, Rampage, Bone Crusher. Don't that sound like a bunch of niggas?
Yeah, man. I was waiting for Skillet. I was waiting for
Rude MP.
The Manosphere niggas, man.
Oh, man. Oh, man.
That's where we at, man. It's just that, hey, man, black progress is gonna happen. These people who destroyed this shit, they're not coming along for the ride. They're just trying to come around people, trying to get participation trophies. They're like passing out water and like paper plates and shit at the barbecue. Hey, man, get your ass out of here, man. Get your ass out of here.
Oh my gosh. Yep.
I'm bringing all this illegitimate shit around, man. It's crazy. It's like, dude, listen, man. You still got to be able to organize. You still got to be able to coalesce around something. I mean, you just can't be like another dude talking about the butter biscuits of the Democrats and shit. Like, no, dude, like, bro, you still got to be able to organize around shit. You still got to be able to do that. Because no matter who's in office, you still got to be able to make some moves. Shit, the alphabet community made moves for what, 20, 30 years. They got almost none of what they wanted. Voted in coalition until their time came, the money came in, they swooped in, got their shit, and they got out of there. We can't even be in position because a lot of these dudes, who sniff some orange dust, man, and you can't reach them anymore, man.
Yeah,
man.
But they understand. They understand organizing and hitting the and really putting people in in the poll booth, man. They understand that. They raise money, but they can put people out there. They can get people to move in the streets, and that's at the end of the day is what's got to happen. It's got to happen here. It's a different
What's funny is that these same guys are mad at the I guess at the left for having this get your booty to the polls thing. All of a sudden now they're too conservative to deal with scantily clad women in a fucking video. They're willing to fight and die over fucking Keisha. It doesn't make any sense, man.
But that's what I'm saying, Mike. You look at them, you talk with these guys. They don't. What's their bottom line? I keep asking. That's my old man told me that many years ago. What's their bottom line? They don't have one, man. There's no bottom line to these dudes. They're just out here, just out here, man. That's all I see. This out here to be out here. I see rhyme no reason with these guys at this stage. Rhyme no reason, because they don't have any platforms that they really stand on. They call themselves conservatives, but don't stand on any conservative platforms at all. But yet they can sit here and watch your votes. People come into your community, steal your votes, try to suppress your vote, and you call yourself a conservative and letting this go down. You call yourself a conservative, letting this happen, or rubber stamping it. How are you conservative letting that happen? Small government, you got governments coming into your community now and shutting you down, and that's acceptable under conservative principles?
That makes sense. They like small government because they don't like the process, man.
Yeah,
the less government they have, the less process they have to deal with.
All right, Mike, I got another one for you.
Go ahead.
Stunticons, also a pack of niggas. You ready? Motormaster, Drag Strip, Dead End, Breakdown, Wild Rider. A bunch of niggas in the manosphere, man. I swear to God, this shit is crazy.
I'm telling you, man.
And like Taylor said, ran through. Not an actual Not an actual transformer, but it might as well be one. In honor.
Yeah, that's a great name. Yeah. Yeah, perfect. Ran through. Transform.
She turns into Meg the Stallion.
Yeah, man.
Oh my
All
God.
the biggest bitches in Black America just turned into one big ass fucking 800-pound woman. Oh my
Like the dino, she's a Dinobot.
god.
Me Grimlock.
Oh my God. That Dagobah be a motherfucker though. Jesus.
Dagobah.
Be a motherfucker. That'd be a motherfucker. Oh shit. Dagobah. Damn, I forget. But
That's where we're at, man. It's just that, dude, at this point in time,
Ultra Magnus. Alpha male.
Alpha male, ultra Magnus. It's just that these people are coming in to let the women right back in.
Yeah.
They're coming in to destroy this thing. And that's what they want to do. Like, none of these people really want any type of progress. Because
No.
it's very clear who you have to leave behind. And it's all the people who was in this thing before.
Yeah.
It's crazy. So you got any last words, Nagone, before we get up out of here?
Man, like I said, my view is show the evidence. You know what I mean? Show the evidence, man. I see nothing. Going back to this thing, nothing. They show nothing. They're out here just running around. This is a big giant smokescreen. I know what they're trying to do. This is about Trump and them raising money.
Yeah.
Their campaign thing going to get their money up, pay off debts and personal monies and stuff that he's going to need. I see what this is about. I see what this is about now. Because this is a sham that these guys are running. It's pure sham. All right. Anyway, that's it, man. Show me the evidence.
Renaissance, man. You got anything else?
Nah. Oh, I did want to say I sent y'all an email. I don't know if you saw Obama did an interview on the Breakfast Club. But
Yeah.
it was about an hour long, and I thought it was pretty insightful. Answer some questions that I thought may be relevant to those guys. So check that out, everyone. For a lot of these black conservatives say he did nothing for the black community. He made a pretty good case, in my opinion, for some of the things he did. So
yeah, he did. He did.
Yeah, man. It's just that you have to realize that this chapter in American history is over. This coup that was attempted in broad daylight, that's also over. Now you got to be able to understand, man, that hey, man, we still got to be able to organize. You can't allow these PhDs to come through and just repeatedly gaslight the fuck out of black men, because that's what's happening. They're going to keep trying to get you thinking into the victim mind state. They're going to keep trying to get you to accept unacceptable circumstances. They're going to keep trying to make you think that they care about black men, but don't want you to stay away from this domestic counterpart that actually has a track record of treating your ass bad as long as the black voice she raises and weaponizes against you. This isn't even against the women. It's against the fact that you can have a better future without all this shit coming around. The only thing you got to do is be able to organize for your own power without them around. Because the correct ones around don't mind being around men. And it's not that many, which makes them easy to spot. But y'all got to recognize, man, y'all got to be able to get y'all own shit together. That's the only way we're going to be able to get this stuff straightened out. And the first thing we got to be able to do is not team with these street dudes. And I'm not talking about the reform guys. I'm talking about the unreformed guys in the fan club. Them dudes are out. You let them stay over there with that bullshit. Because they ain't got nothing else to offer. But apparently downvotes. So I want to thank y'all for coming through, man. I'm the man tomorrow. You guys have a really nice night. Peace.